bet he's happy. Hello, everyone.
Hey.
Good morning. It's
morning.
Definitely morning still. So I'm gonna say good morning again. Good morning. Hi, Wad Tomato N, Paint Liquor, T Schmidt, Panic Mom. Hello.
Hello, hello.
Also, hello to those of you who have not said anything
Not
yet.
said hi yet. Rude.
Yeah. Rude. Thank you for the follow. Hoosiers for Ike. I don't know.
You Hoosiers. Right.
I'm
Indiana.
lost.
Indiana Hoosiers.
Ah.
Indiana University, but I don't know the Fort Ike part.
Yeah. What's up,
They really
Gladiator? Line
President
Creator.
Eisenhower.
How is everyone doing today? I hope y'all having a fantastic day. Jade, hello.
Hello.
I'm going to, I think, get rid of some of this paint water and replace it because mine's getting a little bit on the nasty side.
Let's chug it.
No.
Chug it.
Hey, Jen, we don't have to paint around here.
Chug.
We don't have to paint.
Oh, that's not paint. That's water.
No, it is paint and water,
Oh.
which is just as bad.
Oh, okay.
Not only that,
Maybe
it's paint
even
that's
worse.
been
It's
sitting,
probably worse,
it's
actually.
paint that's been sitting in water.
Paint and the water is a hazard in itself.
Correct.
So.
Not to mention it's tap water.
Okay, don't drink that. Don't.
Yeah,
chug it.
yeah. Don't drink
I
the
take
Arizona
back
tap
what
water.
I said.
It's not very good.
I didn't think it through. What?
It's real bad. The Arizona tap water?
Oh yeah, it's not good.
Yeah, it's horrible. I haven't done that yet. And hopefully we'll never do that.
I mean, you brush your teeth in it probably.
Yeah,
So
but I don't drink it.
no.
It goes in
Yeah, and then spits
and
out.
it does that and it goes out. I definitely don't enjoy any of it.
No,
I'm also definitely one of those people
it's not
that
going to
can't
give
use a Brita
you,
filter.
like the super poops or anything like that. Like Mexico water. It's not like that.
Yeah, it's not.
It is treated.
It's just gross.
It's just, yeah.
Yeah.
Got stuff
It is so
floating
gross.
in it. Well, are you at the point yet? Have you lived here long enough where, on your shower head, it's all crystallized?
So my old one was like that, and it broke.
Oh.
Did I tell you about that?
Uh-uh.
Oh my gosh.
Here since you've lived here?
Yeah.
Oh.
My shower head broke while I was getting into the shower, a month ago, or 2 months ago maybe, and it literally it cracked off. It didn't unscrew. It literally just broke off of the edge of the end of the thing.
Yeah.
Luckily it wasn't the long hose part. It was just the actual
The
shower head itself.
Yeah.
It was easy to fix. But man, that sucked. It sprayed water
Yeah.
everywhere. Of course, the one part of the shower head that broke off is the part that faces towards my bathroom.
Oh,
So it
just
cracked
sprayed-
off like this,
Sprayed the
and
whole
I
bathroom.
turn it on and it goes
Yeah.
all over all over the mirror in my
Yeah.
bathroom. And I have a big bathroom. So it's it projectiled
Got everywhere.
everywhere.
Well,
It sucked.
at least it was just water.
Yes, at least it was just water.
That's easy.
It was easy to fix. It definitely sucked that I was definitely late that morning because I was having to clean it up. I was oh my god. But it was rough. All right, everyone.
No, not the paint.
We're finishing this guy.
Water, Punisher. Arizona water.
Water.
You can swish it around and spit it out.
Yes.
Don't put the paint. Don't swish
It's
with the
pretty
paint.
gross.
Do not brush your teeth with Acryl.
No.
I guess that we have to add that to the list.
Yeah.
As well.
Bold titanium white is not toothpaste.
No, not toothpaste. Does not
It's also not
whiten your teeth.
Yeah, it's not. Yeah, you don't use it for whitening your teeth either. It's not gonna do a great job for you there. Well, I mean,
Easy peasy lemon
Technically.
squeezy. Is there any tutorial on yellow power armor with Monument Hobbies paint?
sort of. There is so there's a methodology. If you go way back, I think we did one, Jason did one on Imperial Fists. And then there's the
somebody
yellow
watches. Hey.
cloth. which you could still use on power armor.
Overrated. Takes me a minute sometimes when
Yeah.
you throw numbers in
Thank
and
you
place
for the
the letters.
follow, overrated. Easy peasy lemon squeezy.
But swishing it and spitting it out is very wasteful.
If
I know that you guys don't like to waste your paint. So, because people complain about
Drinking
the
your
tiny
paint
little
is
drop
wasting your
on the
paint.
tip, if they don't want to waste that little drop that comes out when you close the
No, don't
the
even
tip.
suggest it. Don't even suggest it.
No, I'm just saying, it's like if you don't want to waste that, then don't
Oh,
waste
yeah,
it by
yeah.
putting it in your mouth and spitting it out.
Yeah. Definitely don't do that either.
Oh, but the yellow power armor tutorial, I think, what we were talking about. Did we answer that?
Which one?
The yellow power armor?
Yeah, it was. I sort of answered it. So if you go to our Discord's a great place to ask those kind of questions as well. If you go to our website, monumenthobbies.com, which we have a link for.
Yeah, but the methodologies are also on Discord.
Oh yeah, I guess that's true.
They're in both places. So you can find them in Discord in the Hall of Methodologies.
No.
Or on the website, on the left-hand side, kind of down toward the bottom, tutorials. There's a tab called tutorials.
Okay. Thank you, Gladiator. We're finally getting this guy to a nice, fancy, schmancy, healthy spot. We're getting there. We're getting there.
Easy Peasy said, I asked on that tutorial and heard the video was found, but there were a lot of editing to be done. Curious if there's an update on it.
Oh, Jason said that there's no video. He said that we hadn't posted a video of it, but that video content exists somewhere and would just have to be edited and posted.
All right. I'm not going to be able to help with that.
Yeah. Can you message Baby J in Discord, which is me, and I'll see if I can't make something magically happen. It is possible that we might just have to redo that particular bit of content, but I mean, it's not something that we can't do. So.
B. Neufeld, thank you for the follow.
Thank you. And hello, everyone else who has joined us since the beginning here. Punisher, I see. Arctic Mini, I see. Gladiator, easy peasy.
Hey.
Hey.
Hey yourself.
Hey yourself.
Lazy bot.
Lazy bot. Bot says like half of the thing. And then leaves. What's the Discord name? Baby J. I am one of the exalteds in the Discord. You will see me on the right-hand side of your screen. On Discord. But I will look into that for you. See what we can't do that.
Well, hello, Wisconsin from Arizona.
We, being the J and the J, are both doing well. I'm having a pretty spectacular Tuesday. I'm excited to sit down and paint on this guy a little bit more. I was very excited about it yesterday. If I didn't have other stuff to do, I would have sat and painted for another couple of hours.
Line Creative said, I love the chat named you Baby J, and it just stuck.
Yeah, you can blame Jason for that one. That is all his doing. He was like, oh, Baby J? We're doing it. And it has been so ever since.
Arctic Mini Painting got a new Redgrass Games wet palette. I'm excited to start using it. Is that a special kind of wet palette?
It's the same wet palette that I use.
I mean, is it?
Redgrass Games, it's just a brand.
Palettes? It's just the brand.
It's
I don't use the wet palette, so I don't know.
Redgrass Games is just it's a popular brand of wet palette.
Oh, okay. Are there
Um,
big differences between different brands?
um, Subtle differences. I think in general the thing that works really well for me with the Redgrass games is they have a good size. Their like studio size that they have is like a good size for me to use on a long painting session without having to like refresh my paper super often. Um, and the paper's okay. It's fine. I've used, parchment paper on top of this thing before, and it also works fine. Um, the paper that comes with it and that you can get for it just doesn't beat up quite as much, which is nice, especially with our paints. Which is nice. Um, Other than that, it's really kind of just a lot of preference on what kind of sponge you like and what kind of paper you like, because they all kind of paint will sit on top of the paper a little bit different depending on what the surface tension is like on the paper. So like the parchment paper is a little bit lower surface tension, so it tends to beat up more.
But
Which
convenient and easy to get your hands on it, probably. So
yeah. I
that's
mean,
a-
parchment paper, you just go to the grocery store, you spend $2, and you got enough for
yeah,
forever.
long time.
But you have to cut it. That's the annoying part.
Oh,
is
I
it takes
see.
time. 'Cause you have to
Yeah,
sit
yeah.
there and you have to cut out sheets and
Gotcha.
stuff. So easy peasy lemon squeezy. You messaged me. Awesome. I will check it when I am back on my computer.
Lion Creative has a new glass palette. Excited to try. Wanted to see the difference, so I figured I'd pick one up. There you go.
Yeah, glass palettes make for great dry palettes. The acrylic is easy to get off of it, which is nice. Oh, they've got gridded parchment on sheets instead of rolls. That's cool. Probably a little bit more expensive because they do all like the cutting of it for you.
Overrated? Is that a question?
I would assume so.
Best way to work towards smooth blends on large surfaces.
Well, there's a lot of different ways that you can approach doing blends. There's kind of three fundamental ways that you can do it. You can layer colors, which is mostly what I do, which is where you will paint a color on to the model, and then you will layer another brighter color or darker color on top of that, while leaving some of the other paint exposed, and that will it'll give you a nice gradient, and as you mix colors in between those colors that you use, you'll get a smoother and smoother effect. There is wet blending, which is where you take a paint that's particularly wet. Here, I'll just give you an example on this base real quick.
These other questions that are coming in, we'll get to you as soon as.
So if I paint on some paint here, and I put it on pretty thick, it's still pretty wet there. And then I take some, like a darker color, like what we got here, and I'll put it right below it. Yeah, sorry. Readjust my rested position here. And then you take those paints with a damp brush and you blend them while they're wet on the surface of the model that you're painting. So on large surfaces, this is a really, really great way to get nice, smooth blends without a ton of extra work.
Does airbrushing make the blending easier as well?
Yeah, you can blend with an airbrush. You can basically do the same layering effect, but because it's spread so fine, you get a really nice smooth transition between your colors. So, especially on large surfaces, using airbrushes is really, really time effective because you get a lot better or a lot quicker result that's really smooth and very clean without a lot of time. So these are two really good ways to do that. And then there's some variations on each. So if you want to do like a two brush blending or like a kind of a riff on the wet blending style, you paint on your color like this.
Can't see it.
Oh, sorry. And then you take a damp brush and you feather out that paint over your other colors. So this is another example of a type of technique that you can use to get a nice gradient. You can see how it kind of, you see some of the color underneath. And then you can do like tip loading or loaded brush, which is a technique that our two new signature artists use a lot. Which is where you take a thinner paint. So let's thin down some of this here. I'll move my palette so you guys can see what I'm doing here. To thin down a lot of this. Get it to a nice fluid consistency. And then we're going to take one of our heavy paints, which is our heavy warm white. And we're going to load the brush up with that wet and more fluid paint down here. And then we're going to dip just the tip of the brush into that heavy paint. And you'll notice that there's a little glob on the tip of the brush. So the idea here, find a good location to do this, is we apply that thicker paint and then we blend it into the darker paint that's in the brush already. So this is tip loading or loaded brush, as Matt and Ben like to refer to it as.
Very cool.
So that's why the heavy paints exist in our line. So that'll be heavy warm white and heavy bold titanium, or heavy titanium white. And Jason is in a meeting currently. I'm assuming he will be done at some point and will join us when he's available.
Yeah. All right. Slovak, are you done?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. We're good. We're good.
Slovak, how important is a wet palette for pro curl paints? I think I heard the paints don't want to be overly thinned with water. Well, Jason does not use one. Jordan does.
Yeah,
so you got both here.
Yeah, I think
Jason's not here, but
we are a great indication that you can paint to a really good effect both ways, right? He and I are both very good painters. We've been painting for a very long period of time. He almost exclusively uses a wet palette or a dry palette, and I almost exclusively use a wet palette. So it more has to do with your personal preferences on how you like to handle paint. And I tend to work with my paint a little bit differently on my palette than Jason does, and it works better for a wet palette. So, for example, if I kind of pull my palette from yesterday over here, you can see I have a little bit more broad blends that I pick colors from in different places to get more gradients. So like you'll see here, I have like a 3-stage gradient. And then I have a little bit of a darker one on the side. So I can pull, because I have the wet palette that's keeping these paints dry for a longer period of time, I have a little bit of extra wiggle room to pull colors from each of these to find the right specific shade or tone or hue that I'm looking for. So that's how I like to use a wet palette. But Jason likes to work in like bigger globs of paint, and he does really, really, really small little mixes. So he doesn't need as much moisture to keep the paints working. Yeah, there is no problem with doing it either way. It is a pure preference thing. And there are good reasons to do both. The tricky thing with wet palettes that you'll run into is if you oversaturate your wet palette, especially with things like parchment paper being used as your top paper, you can oversaturate your paints with water. And when that happens, because our paints are generally very fluid out of the bottle and they don't really need a lot of thinning, you can oversaturate your paints and they'll become very hard to work with. So what we typically recommend is that you keep your palette away from having standing water in it, and you work with less paint in your palette. One of the benefits of having this particular type of paper is it doesn't absorb as much water. So the surface of this palette stays very dry. It's like damp to the touch. You can feel the coolness of the water coming through, but it still maintains a very workable surface on the top.
Richard needs Jason not going to be able to go to Dragonfall. He has Comic-Con the next weekend, so he's got to go to New York.
Yeah, we got another show coming up here soon.
And then Arctic Mini Painting wanted to know how you prevent mold on your wet palette.
You leave it open, and you let it dry out every night. I do not use my wet palette for multiple sessions. I use a wet palette as a way of extending my working time during long painting sessions, but I do not keep it from day to day. And when you don't keep it from day to day, you won't get mold because it's all going to dry out.
I think that kind of goes along with and maybe did you say this, that it's not meant, they're not meant to store your paints, the wet palette?
Right, yeah. And that's a problem that I've always had with wet palettes is it is nearly impossible to find the correct amount of water in your palette to be able to close the lid or have the lid even be ajar and keep it good overnight. It is virtually impossible. And I've used a lot of different wet palettes. I've used a lot of different paper on top, and every single time the paints just get all the moisture evaporates from the sponge and then goes onto the lid, and then the condensation drips back down onto the palette, and that's what gets all your paints really wet. Creates a very moist environment, which will give all of the paints on top of the palette more moisture, which is not what you want.
Hello, everyone. Gosu, Blob Tomato. Everybody else, Mo. Hi.
Hello. Go Sumo. Slavic.
Apparently, if you put some copper
Richard.
in with your wet palette, prevents mold.
Yeah, mold doesn't really like copper.
Science? I don't know.
Science! I just don't put the lid on it. Makes it easy for me. And then you wanna wash out the sponge periodically, maybe once a week. Just take the sponge out, run some soap over it, and scrunch it all together and give it a good old rinse under some hot water. You know what you never want to do? I did this on accident once. Do not ever put isopropyl alcohol on your sponge.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it
What
makes
does
it.
do?
It
Eats
makes
it
it no longer a sponge.
Yeah. Just destroys it, like eats it away or something?
Well, no, it does even weirder. So what'll happen is, you know how a sponge likes to like deform and then return to its previous shape? The isopropyl alcohol stops it from doing that.
Huh.
So it deforms and then it just like stays in a weird like weird funky shape. It's really gross. Yeah.
But I assume the thinking would be that it would prevent mold, right? Because it's
No, I just did it. So I had
just to try it.
I have one of these at home that
on
has
accident?
ISO in it, and I have one that has water in it.
That's
And usually I'm very
risky.
good. Yeah. Well, no, because one of them is really clean and the other one's dirty. So it's very easy for me to identify which one is which.
If you remember that.
Well, yeah. They're mine. I would hope I remember that. So I did that, but I grabbed the wrong one on accident.
I see.
And I think it was because I had somebody else's ISO bottle, and it had a little bit of paint on it, and I grabbed it on accident. And I sprayed it into my wet palette, and it just it just did weird stuff, and I was like, well, can't use this anymore.
Time for a new sponge.
So
Very
Yeah, it's really weird. It does weird stuff. All right, Malagurst. Let's get this man finished up. Because I got a whole lot of other stuff that I want to work on. We'll see if we can't get working on some of that today.
So Jason and I last night watched an episode of the show on Apple about
Which
the
one?
space, the moon landing.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Very excited about this.
Okay.
No, you're very
Yes.
excited about this.
I love this show.
I don't understand why. So,
Okay.
what I need to know
Yeah.
is,
Mm-hmm.
because I can't figure out where this show is going.
Yeah, I had this. I had the same exact
Is it
thing.
going to be like a reimagined, like here's what society is like if Russia is has more control or more influence over the world, or is it strictly about NASA?
So here's what I will tell you.
Okay.
And this because I had the exact same question when I watched the first episode.
Yeah.
Because I watched the first episode and I was like, okay, this is a very interesting premise, but like these seasons are not very long. How am I gonna get? Because it's like in the
They're not long
moment,
seasons.
like
The seasons are not long.
they're like 8 to 10 episodes or
Oh,
something.
okay.
Yeah, but there's
4.
4.
Yeah.
Yeah. There are time skips.
Okay.
So lots of time passes over the period of the whole show.
Mm-hmm.
So you get to see the long-term effects of these small changes
On the world,
On
not
the-
just on NASA.
It is both.
Okay.
It's NASA, but you get to see snippets of like how it affects like
Where would you say?
culture and stuff like that.
Give me a ratio. Mostly NASA.
Mostly NASA. It's about how the space program changes. Because basically what happened is we got there first, and then we stopped caring.
Yeah.
Right? And we stopped pursuing
Right.
further.
Yeah.
And what happened was, the concept is, in the show, they got there first,
Right.
and we wanted to keep one up again.
Okay. So it kind of going back to the guy who was like NASA doesn't have any guts anymore or something, like kind of
Yes.
how it affects that?
Yes. But it's the opposite, right? Because NASA's now like,
Right.
they're
Now
on the
they're-
back seat, and they're
Yeah.
like, okay, well, now we got to get,
Now we got to step it up.
step it
Yeah.
up. So they're like, okay, well, now we need, we need a presence on the moon,
Mm-hmm.
right? And then like, where does it go from there, right?
Okay.
And over the longer period of time, more stuff happens, and because if you think about it, like, what sort of research would have come out of there being more tension and back and forth
Mm-hmm.
during that time instead of one group getting there and then everybody being like, well, okay, we got there, because like, all of that build up to the moon landing was like it was a race. It was like
Right.
everybody was advancing technology really fast. Everybody was doing all this, putting tons of effort and money behind it. And now, once it was achieved, there was no more goal. But now that there's more to be gained and there's more fighting over, these little steps, right?
Mm-hmm.
You get this back and forth that creates more and more and more growth in a place where everything became really stagnant.
Okay.
So the show is all about like, what does that do in terms of like space exploration,
Mm-hmm.
and what does that do in terms of how it affects society to some extent, to a lesser extent.
Mm-hmm.
You do see how it impacts society.
Okay.
So because it goes through, because the moon landing was in 69, so it goes through like that period of time, and then it goes through like the late 70s, and then it goes further on. So I think there's like a pretty substantial time jump between season 1 and season 2.
Okay.
And like all of these characters are relatively young
Mm-hmm.
during season 1. I think Baldwin's like in his mid 20s or something, or like
I
late
don't know
20s
who
maybe.
anyone is yet, so.
Yeah. Ed Baldwin's the main character, who's played by the guy.
Oh,
who,
okay.
Yeah.
The one who said NASA didn't have any guts.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Gosu, we will have to contact Elon Musk and see if he's got any room. The stickers would probably lose their stick. Source does. Have you asked this question before?
What makes your soap better? Maybe.
I can tell you for sure.
I mean, we've had the question before.
Yeah,
but
I'm just wondering if it was like a way to change the subject or if it's a real question.
I mean, seems like a legitimate question.
First of all, better than what? What are you using now? Da Vinci soap. Okay, I don't even know what that is. I don't know how to compare it to that, but what makes my brush goop good is that it's an all-in-one product. So it cleans, it conditions, it restores, it reshapes, both synthetic and sable. If it's a brush, if you've got an old brush that you feel like you were going to throw it away because it's just dirty and it doesn't hold a point anymore, use some of my soap, give it a really good cleaning, probably 2 or 3 times, and then you can reshape it. Will work on a sable brush. It won't work that way on a synthetic. Because a synthetic brush, once it's kind of out of shape, it's probably going to be like that. So that is where you use that brush for like your stippling and textures or effects and things like that. Don't eat the soap for sure, because it is soap. And you know, when we hear about little kids getting punished because they swear, they get soap in their mouth. So I would say that you should consider that a punishment. Don't willingly do that to yourself. It tastes disgusting. Yeah, don't listen to that guy. Anyone who tells you to eat it is not your friend.
Dang.
And then so yeah, it'll get dried paint out. It gets all the way down into the ferrule, which is something that a lot of people don't think about when they're cleaning their brushes. They don't realize that there's a bunch of dried paint, because every time you use your brush and you don't clean it with soap, all the material in there that didn't get rinsed out is just going to dry, and it's going to get down into the ferrule. And when you see dried paint in the ferrule, that's what's going to cause your brush not to make a point.
Yep. Because
it's going to just cause all the hairs to splay. So my brush goop will get paint out of the ferrule. You'll see little flecks of dried out paint coming out. And then it's got conditioners right in it. So a lot of soaps will require you to have a separate conditioning step to prolong the life of your brush. Again, specifically sables, because sables, like your natural hair, they'll dry out. And a lot of the soaps are using really harsh chemicals or harsher ingredients that are going to cause that stuff to dry out, like on your hair. In fact, there was someone, who was it, a long time ago, was like, oh, I needed some shampoo really quick, so I just grabbed some of my my master's brush soap because it works so well on my brushes, and it made their hair like really brittle and dry. So because of that, a lot of soaps will require a separate conditioner. Mine is all in one.
The big thing I noticed when I was using it for the first time is that it does so much better of a job than any of the other brush soaps that I've ever used at clearing out dry paint.
Yeah.
And I've used the Masters, I've used, the Da Vinci stuff, I've used, various different other brands. And part of the reason why I treat my brushes so bad is because I've never had good results with any of them.
Yeah.
So I built up habits of not bothering to clean my brush because I never had brush soap that worked very good. So, now these days I'm trying to correct that by, realizing that we have great brush soap and that I should use it.
We do, in the building. Gosu, you shouldn't need the acetone though if you're using brush goop.
Oh, God.
You should be able to
Don't use acetone on
eliminate
your
that
brushes.
step totally. Yeah, acetone
Oofda.
seems a little aggressive.
That will dry your brushes out.
Well, you're saying
ton.
synthetics, so they're going to be a little bit more durable
Sure.
there in that respect. But you don't need them. You don't need acetone if you're using brush goop. So
It'll also eat away at the glue that's holding everything together.
Shazza Gaming, thank you.
Don't
Brush
look at
goop
it.
has saved brushes I haven't used in years. It revives them like some sort of magic CPR machine or something.
Hi.
It can make your it.
Hi.
So when I made
Cool.
the brush goop, I used ingredients that were also good for hair because I was thinking of it as, well, sable brushes are hair, it's animal hair, but it's hair. And so I started thinking about the different things to clean and condition human hair. And that's how I started putting the ingredients together for the brush goop. So it has not been tested on human hair or anything like that, but I know that people have used it.
Chuck, would acetone melt the synthetic? Yeah, eventually, depending on how intensive acetone you use.
Don't let it sit in it.
Yeah. Yeah, if you set it in there and you leave it, then yeah, it's gonna do some nasty things.
I mean, the fact of the matter is that it doesn't do anything different than water will do. It might dissolve. Okay, so think of it like this, right? If it's dissolving the acrylic that's built up in a brush that's really gunked, right? Then what is acrylic? It's just a form of plastic, right? So you've got a plastic that the acetone is dissolving out of your plastic brush in a 50,000 foot level. So
Yeah.
you probably shouldn't do it time after time after time. Don't leave it sitting in it, right? I mean, oil painters know that, you can use mineral spirits and acetone and those kinds of things, and you can get good results for cleaning your brush, but if you leave your brushes sitting in it, they start to fray and break and all sorts of problems over time.
Well, the other thing too is that a lot of those fine art brushes are working on bigger canvases. They don't need brushes to be as pristine as we typically would.
That's exactly the point that I talk about that all the time, is that the reality when dealing with canvas painters is that they don't need the brush to be at a precise point or shape even necessarily. They just need the width of line is what they're looking for. Until they get down to, like, if you're painting crazy details, each individual hair on the arm of a person or something, then they're using very thin liners.
And as far as the brush goop and human hair, and when I said it hasn't been tested and what all that stuff, it hasn't been tested for any like allergies or anything like that. So that's all I'm saying is, like, it's not marketed. We don't make it specifically for use on your hair or your dog or whatever. It's only made for brushes. But that being said, we get it all over our hands and stuff when we make it, so it's not going to like burn holes in your skin or anything like that, unless you have some strange allergies, in which case you're probably doing a lot more research on what products you're using.
Yeah. If you have bad allergies like that, you probably look at most labels and go, is this gonna work for me?
Yeah, we get people that contact us in support with their own special needs, and
Yeah, it does. We should also, this is a good time to say that it does contain gluten. So, I mean, we just had an email. Someone inquired about that the other day, that I have really bad celiac disease and I can't have anything gluten. Don't use the brush soap. It's also not vegan. So, just for those of you who are trying to use products that don't have any
Animal
product in it, brush goop not for you.
Don't eat the brush.
And I would not use the paint as any kind of personal hygiene product.
No, please
Because
no.
it's going to get you covered in paint which is usually the opposite of your goal when you're trying to
Indeed.
have good hygiene.
Indeed.
But you've seen Jason's thumb. It gets all over.
Yep. Mine too.
And even though the soap is not vegan and or vegetarian, it is also cruelty free.
Absolutely. It's not, yeah, it doesn't have any, yeah. It's not anything
It is
that,
made from sustainable animal products.
Yeah, it's not.
No animals died to make our brush soap.
No, definitely not. I know. That's why I always hesitate to say stuff like that, and I'll say things like, it has gluten, but it's not edible. Just like the paint, not edible. Monument Hobbies, nothing we make is edible.
Except the handle of the brushes.
Not edible.
Good fiber.
No. Don't say those things
Jason,
when
you're
people
gonna, you're gonna get us in trouble over here.
and repeat what you've said.
Clip that.
Clip
No.
that.
Please don't.
Oh, I'm sure it's been clipped already.
I'm sure
Clip
it's been
that.
clipped. No, nothing we make is edible.
Well, welcome to the party, Jason.
What'd I do?
Nope.
You are here. You were not here, and now you are here.
I am here.
I welcome you to the party.
That phone call went really long. Well, it was a video call, but still.
We got technology.
Exactly.
these days.
Non-toxic and edible are very different. Just because something is non-toxic doesn't mean you should eat it.
That's true.
Like my shirt is probably non-toxic, but I'm not eating it. Well, Omicron, that would be very confusing, I think.
Jen.
Really mixed messaging.
My shirt is probably non-toxic. I probably wouldn't eat it. Oh my gosh.
You never know, man. In a bind.
I have the coolest job.
The soap
In-
does not
in the
smell
zombie
like cookie batter.
apocalypse.
You're making your cookies wrong if you think the soap smells like cookie batter.
I'm gonna be honest. I got the coolest job in the world. Where else would I be able to talk
Well,
to
sure, Irish Rock once.
somebody about not eating a shirt?
The owner of the company, no less.
Yeah,
What happened?
I just said that I have the coolest job in the world.
Oh.
He's listening to the owner of the company banter about eating shirts on the internet with
Yes.
I'm
customers.
just trying to make my point. That just because something's non-toxic doesn't mean you should eat it.
Remember, you're trying to talk to chat.
Yeah, this is chat we're talking about.
Great. So Sheza said, but the soap smells like cookie batter. And I said, no, it does not. You're making your cookies wrong. I just sniffed it. Smells like cookie batter without the sugar. That's not cookie batter. Cookies have sugar. They need it.
Yes.
It's very important for cookies to have sugar in order to be cookies.
What Jen said is 100% correct. If you're making cookies without sugar,
You're doing it wrong.
You're doing it
Shame on you.
Those are probably crackers.
that ain't a cookie.
Shame on you.
Well, that's a good point. There are some clothing items that are edible. We're not talking
Oh my
about
gosh. Why are we having this conversation with chat? Oh my goodness.
those. Sometimes you get into it and you can't get out.
Wait, I don't understand. Somebody elaborate.
Heck, can somebody explain to me how clothing is edible?
Well,
Curious minds
when
must
a man
know.
and a woman really love each other, Jordan.
Jen, you don't need to explain it. I get it. Please don't explain it.
Didn't you just say explain how clothing
He
is
did.
edible?
All right, you know what? Send it. Go ahead. Let's
asked for it,
let's
actually.
have this talk.
Face Smasher just said it. Don't they make edible underwear?
Why on earth would you need a pair of edible underwear?
Is that the ones that come out of the
did you
vending
just say
machines
why would you
in
need
Tokyo?
edible underwear?
Jen, yes, I did.
I'm
I
gonna
did
again
it.
say, Jordan, when a man and a woman love each other.
Look, they don't call me Baby J for no reason, okay? Sometimes we gotta ask hard questions here.
Where do babies come from?
Yeah, where
Yeah,
did babies
that's-
come from?
That's a go ask your parents. Edible bold spiral red undies.
Oh my god.
Dude, I am totally, when we get off the stream, I am calling the company that makes edible underwear and saying, okay, I got a deal for you.
You need you to make some bold power.
This one's going to be hard for you to pass up.
It's
Boy,
like-
do we have a market
It's
for
like
you.
this is going to be a mutually beneficial relationship for both of us. It's going to benefit you as much as it benefits us.
Oh, God.
I hear that so often.
Oh, chat.
This is why we stream.
Yep. 100% yes. No doubt in my mind, this is why we do this.
This is why we stream.
So how's it going, Jen?
You know it's good when you get the out of Jen.
Having a fun stream so far?
Yeah.
Sheza says she 3D prints her babies.
What?
I asked where babies come from.
Oh. There you go.
I feel like somebody's gonna need to have a phone call.
Whatever kind of crazy things you guys could make and still sell, chat is wild. I mean, Jason legit was researching how to make Kool-Aid. What was that
Kool-Aid?
going to be for?
We were gonna do the cult.
Yeah, Monument.
Pro
drink
cult.
The, drink the Kool-Aid. Yeah,
Pro
yeah,
cult.
Pro cults.
It was for the acrolytes. It was pro cult.
Acrylites.
Pro
that's
cult
right.
drink mix, and
Yeah.
they stopped calling me back.
Yeah.
They stopped calling you back?
They're like, this guy's
Oh
running a
my
cult.
gosh.
This is like a doomsday cult situation.
It really
We're
was
gonna
at the
see
point where I was
people
like,
with,
okay,
like,
so here's the
Purple
funny thing.
Nikes and
I was like, so here's the
drapes
funny
over
thing. Have
their
you ever
head.
heard about the Guyana tragedy? Because we want to make Kool-Aid called Pro Cult. And now wait, before you hang
Wait,
up,
wait,
click. It was like click. Aww.
It started and stopped very quickly.
Aww. So what I learned through that interaction is that we have to tell them we will do our own packaging.
yeah.
The problem is you have to be FDA certified, so it went downhill fast.
Yeah.
Because we couldn't call it Pro Cult, right?
Yeah,
I mean,
Because it turns out they weren't happy about that whole thing. Right? Big Bob, 77.
did they actually say, we will not do this?
They ghosted me.
Okay, yeah, they ghosted you.
They took the easy road out. They took the cowards road and just stopped talking to me.
like,
Yeah.
oh, I
They were all
forgot.
Instead of being
excited.
like,
I didn't get that one.
let's not do this.
I was nothing but
Forgot
honest
to
with those
hit
people.
send.
Well, huzzah,
I was
huzzah.
nothing but honest with those
Throw
people.
back my legs and pollute my
So I
britches
think we'd
with
have better
delight.
luck with the people that make edible underwear.
They
We need to
get
take
it.
them a business proposition and say, have you ever thought about making Kool-Aid?
Oh my gosh.
Because I think
The fact that you went down that rabbit hole makes me believe in monuments so much more.
Oh yeah, I can show you
I
the
mean, we
emails.
commit.
Well, I can't show you but I have the email chain. Well, it may have been on my own computer, but yeah. No, I still have it because I still have the in the promotions folder in my mail. I still have the drinks and food section.
Oh my god, do you really?
Yeah, because we
my
also
gosh.
contacted at the old building. We were gonna have a bar, like alcohol
yeah.
bar, and I contacted local breweries about private labeling cans with our color names on it, and that was a go. They would do that.
That's
This is
awesome.
the best question. Cobenheister.
Hey, he says, Copenheister says, hey, quick question. How did you get the signature series paints to taste like the actual artist? So we don't
How
have
do
a
you
lot of
know?
secrets. We don't have a lot of secrets here. We like to be very open and transparent with our customer base and the police. But on this one, we have to plead the fifth. So we're not doing it.
But I want to know how you know, Coben. Is Flavor Aid like the knockoff version of Kool-Aid?
Sauna suits. We wring them out. Have you ever read Dune?
Yeah.
Do you know what a
Jabe-
still suit is?
You
got
came to
those.
work for us like 2 years too late.
Extract of artist. Gabe says, I'm sorry, did you say that we almost had a bar at work? Yes. We actually had a 6-head tap.
I took the test, the class to get the liquor license and everything.
Oh, yeah, she did.
I did.
She
Oh
took
my
the
gosh.
she took the background check and the whole class paid to take the
Did all that.
$75 class so that you could have a liquor license and all of that. And we went out and we were auctioning off because we were going to do a private club beer and wine license. But they said you had to have had your private club formed,
Yeah, it had to have like
legally formed
members
for
and
18 months
minutes
history
and things like that.
with voting.
Yeah.
Records of voting
Yeah.
and meeting minutes and all of that, and we didn't have that. Like, we had enough people. Oh, it said it had to be a minimum of 100 people in your club, and it had to have all of those records of past voting and all of that with date records and signed and meeting minutes and all that, like run like a true club organized in the state of Arizona. So you had to be recognized in the state of Arizona as a club doing charitable work and things like that, right? So we were
can
like,
make
well,
this
we can
happen.
start the club now, but
we can't drink yet.
we can't drink for 18 months. And it just wound up we didn't have room for it. So. Still Suits recycle everything. Go Suit. And now you know why it tastes like artists. Paint liquor, we haven't said any of those things. Edible underwear is basically just a fruit roll-up. Yes.
Yeah.
Except imagine it made in the most generic form possible. I ate some on stream once.
I even believe this.
No, I did.
You ate
It was a part of my 24-hour New Year's stream.
Oh,
It was part of the stream where in 2014 to 15, right before I met you, I did a New Year's stream, and we played video games, and everybody got to come in the stream and all that, and I drank a finger of Crown Royal
Okay.
every time somebody hit New Year's around the globe. So I started before the first time zone hit New Year's,
Yeah.
and I went until the last time zone. Well, I didn't make it. I passed out. Like, I was passing out on stream, and they could play sounds, and they played the sounds and woke me up,
Oh
and I was
my
like, I gotta
gosh.
stop here. I went to bed and promptly like barfed on myself in bed. It was horrible, but in the
How many
midst of
shots
that,
is that, by the way?
and I ate edible underwear on stream because somebody had dared me, and like we were having this kind of a conversation, and so I went and got edible underwear, and the place I had to go to get the edible underwear was not a place I would normally venture, but it was a lot of fun because people that work in those places.
They don't care.
Loose values. Let's just go.
Yeah.
Right? So so we got all sorts of the flavor stuff that you get at those places, and I like put it on my pizza. I think I dribbled some of the syrup on
God.
pizza or something. Like, it was horrible. Absolutely horrible. Yeah, it's horrible.
no.
I'm just imagining you like pouring some weird concoction of sauce on like a Barro's slice of pizza and going, ah.
I
And
didn't know
it
about
just,
Barro's
like,
back then, which was
ugh.
sad because it was probably like Domino's.
Barro's is delightful though.
Yes, Barro's is good.
I am so happy that I live next to a place that has like actual real pizza that's like
KTP, you were there? There are some old hats that join in on stream every now and then that were there. Ferrithus, who shows up every now and then, he was there
Yeah.
for the whole thing.
Jeebus. What a
We
wild.
just the Rob Boswig is just over on the other side of the building. We just
Yeah, the
saw it
Rob
the other
Boswig
day.
still exists. There's actually two of them now.
Well, it's your chest hair.
Oh, I cut one of them up to make chest hair.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yes, we did, Jordan.
You guys are killing
It's
me.
like Gabe earlier today was like, where do I work?
Yeah. I have this question very
What
frequently.
is this job I have?
Some days. Some days.
My job is pretty dope though.
I forget what we were talking
not
about
gonna-
earlier that made Gabe say that, but
Gabe.
what is it? Oh, it was because I walked in saying that I'm going to license the video game that I'm playing to make.
Oh,
a real
yeah, that
game
was
out
great.
of.
I got really excited.
Wait, you're what?
We both did.
I contacted the people for that game I've been playing
Uh
to see if they would license it to us to make a board game version of it.
huh.
Because it would be so perfect. And I think he'll do it.
Cool.
I mean, maybe.
Your space game that you've been playing?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. That's so funny. That's so
To
unbelievable.
think a reputable brand came out of the madness, Big Bob. Why is reputable in quotation marks? What are you saying?
We're reputable. We're very reputable people. Have you met me?
We're
You know why?
infamous.
Come on.
Because there's a lot of people out there who have never seen this stream. That's why.
Yeah. That's probably very true. The more people that see the stream, the more people are like,
I don't know about that monument.
It goes
Good,
one
but
of
those
two
people are
ways.
weird.
Either someone's like, I'm in.
Yeah.
Or
Yes,
someone's like,
welcome.
"Ugh."
You are our people. You have found your place.
Yeah. Welcome everybody who has that feeling. You are welcome here and you are loved.
We certainly have a reputation.
What is the demographic for this show? Everyone.
Yeah.
Duh.
We don't leave anybody out.
Having worked for several Fortune 50 companies and having met the executives, this is normal, if not light.
Wait, what?
Is there a Fortune 50 or is that supposed to be 500?
That might be 500.
There's lots of them.
Oh, are there?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, the smaller the number, the
More
more important they are.
important they are.
Exclusive.
The demographic is yes. That's the demographic.
Yes.
Yes.
What's next on
Probably.
your not so demon guy?
Blacking out all the stuff.
Making it all visible.
The part I'm not excited about.
Well, that's like one of my favorite things to do.
It winds up making the model look a lot better. It's just
Yeah.
not fun to do.
Oh.
It's like I already painted this. I gotta paint it again, and then I gotta paint it again and again.
No kids though. Jordan isn't child friendly. Yeah,
What?
we definitely keep him away from all the kids.
I'm not child friendly? Whoa.
The mouth on that guy, the language
Okay,
that comes out.
I'm a
of
bit
that.
of a sailor when it comes to my.
I heard him cuss today, chat.
Really?
It took me aback.
Yeah.
Wait, actually?
Yeah.
I swear all the time.
Not really.
I swear like a
Not at
sailor when
work.
I'm not here.
But see, I'm not there when you're not here.
You've seen me outside of work. I'm very good about it when I am working. Turns out sometimes you just gotta be a little professional, and that's okay.
When does that time start?
About an hour ago.
Oh, lies.
Well, for me, about an hour ago. For you, about 20 minutes ago. But you also got access to that whole "it's good to be king" thing. So, maybe never. I'm gonna play by some weird rules that somebody wrote up.
That would be me. And they change all the time. Completely not fair. Impossible to keep up with. Change all the time.
What changes all the time?
The rules.
Oh.
You should know this. At home, she's always like, that's not the rules. And I go, it is.
Those are, in fact, the rules.
She then goes on some tirade about how she didn't sign up for them.
Very particular about my forms.
What's that?
I said I'm very particular about my forms.
Yes.
I told Jordan about the show we watched last night because I wanted to find out kind of the direction.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Did I appropriately answer your question, by the
You
way?
did answer
Okay.
my question.
Cool.
Yes. I might not watch it anymore,
That's a bummer.
but we'll see.
It is. It was not what I expected in the best way possible when I first started it. because it was like it felt very historical nonfiction at the beginning, and I was like, this feels like a very self-contained, like small scope show, with like admittedly interesting characters, but like I didn't see the scope of the whole thing.
Well, that's the way it ended for us. Is we were like, I don't understand
Yes.
where they're gonna go with this.
Yep, and I had literally the exact same reaction when I watched the first episode. I asked my buddy who
Does
had
it turn into an action flick?
Yeah, pretty much.
Oh no.
It turns
Well, no. Yes and no. There are moments of tension and action in the show, but it's not an action film. It has the drama, it has the political tension throughout the whole entirety of it. But as you would imagine, this type of show, because it's an alternate history, a lot of the ramifications of things like that you don't see for a long period of time. So the show time skips. So there's a lot of time that elapses.
Yeah, because like in episode 1, we had this random like little girl and her family crossing the border.
Yeah, they're low.
Yes.
From Mexico?
Yes.
And so I can only assume she's going to be a rocket scientist or something.
That's a good guess. That's a pretty good guess.
I mean, I would have to assume, because like, why else would they spend so much time focused on her if she wasn't going to be part of the space program at some point?
She is important later.
Yeah. So it's just interesting because both of us were just like, I kind of want to know, like, what's this a setup for? You know?
Well, it's not as much focused on society at large, apparently, as NASA. It's going to be more focused on how this alternate reality would impact NASA.
Oh, okay.
A little bit less.
Well, Tom says, who watches just one episode of something? I mean, if I don't like
I
it,
do, if I don't
So-
this
like it.
guy.
So let me frame this in maybe a better way. So the show is basically, what if the space race never ended?
Yeah.
So that you can think about the implications of that and what it means for a long-term TV show that.
Well, that's what I was saying to
things
Jen
over
last
there.
night, is
Yeah.
it probably is just like the implications that it had on if this both countries kept pushing each other's limits
Correct. Yes.
on that.
And that's the whole.
Spoilers. Yeah, it's for all mankind.
only
It's in like
watched one
season
episode.
4 for crying out loud.
We've only watched
Yeah.
one episode. We're not spoiling anything.
There's no
Yeah.
spoiling it.
The fact that there is time skips is about as far as I will go on telling you things about the show.
KTP says boomers. We are not boomers. There's not a single boomer in this room. There are 2 Gen Xers, though, who will kick your butt if you say that to us in our
Absolutely.
face.
Yeah. I asked my buddy. He said one word, and I was like, "Okay, the show's good. I will keep watching it."
Aliens.
No, that was not the word.
Aww. Mars.
That's a pretty good guess.
Mars. That's only because they said it
They did say
in the show.
Yeah,
Mars and Saturn,
yeah.
the whole galaxy, the stars and the asteroids.
I mean, that's kind of the next logical step beyond, right?
Big Bob says, I can't believe how long the brush goose lasts. Did you read that one?
It does last a long time.
I'm only on my second goop, and I'll be good until Adepticon. And you've been here for like 6.5 years.
Yep. It does last a long time. You
Slavic
only
says,
need
I
use
aspire
a
to
tiny
want to
little
paint
bit.
the same section of a model as many times as you guys are. Speed painting is all I have time, patience, and skill for so far. Hey, there's nothing wrong with that at all. Man, I painted this in like, what did we paint this in? I don't know, 20 minutes, So I don't care. If there's a chance to put a model on the table and play with it, and just throw color at it, I don't care, whatever.
This is a cool character model, so I want to spend a little bit more time on him. But, I mean, he's almost done. I'm just fixing up the metal on it.
Also, what we paint on stream is either of kind of like mid-level display quality to high-level army
Yeah.
at the low end. but we do paint some stuff very quickly sometimes to show that off, especially if we're showing off like, you know, particular techniques with our paint range and things like that. We paint everything in every way imaginable. It's just you can imagine that if you paint pretty much every day like we do, that you want to have it be kind of rule of cool is what we try to do around here. I don't ever want Jordan to feel like he's forced painting something he doesn't want to paint, and I obviously don't want to paint something I don't want to paint. So it really is just what we're feeling at the moment. You know?
Well, and the cool thing is, you know, if we're excited about a project, it will come through and be more interesting.
Oh yeah,
for you guys.
Yeah.
Like I'm really excited about this project right now, so I'm gonna do cooler things with it.
Goes who says, I wish I could speed paint. I sweat over every detail.
Well, if you guys want to see some cool speed painting things, I can go grab and show you what's up next on the docket for me. And let me tell you, it involves painting some stuff quick.
All right, well, I got to figure out how to freaking Gerg.
What? Gerg?
Gerg.
Gerg?
I'm going to try to see if I can skip a step and just have Payne's Gray work over these chains without having to paint it black, too.
Probably could.
Irish Rock, if you want slow paint, I got you. I got you. So, it's literally on the hand that holds the model.
Slow.
This side of the screen is slow.
Yeah. I do the fast stuff a lot of the time, except for when you paint robots. And then you're lightning quick. Because your robots were ridiculously fast.
Well, I was really, really intent on being able to field whatever, whenever. And the way BattleTech plays is that you don't just build a lance and call that a day. It's not like building an army for other games. You have to build enough models to handle all situations, which is where they get you, right? Because you're figuring out like your points value for your drop, you know, when you get the intel. Like, you have 3300 BV this time. And you're like, well, time to try a new model. Or this time you're playing with 5,000 battle value.
Which sounds like not what you want to be doing when your opponent has 6,000.
Spirit of Battletech takes over Jason once every few months. He blacks out and then has an entire lance of painted mechs.
Yes.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. It was cool. I learned a lot. I didn't know anything about BattleTech. Now I know a lot.
Automaton wants to know if you have to finish painting a bomb before it explodes.
I don't understand the question. Is this some sort of, like, challenge you want to run? All right, see that timer? When that hits 0, this goes kablooey. Go.
What? What am I supposed to do? Don't go kablooey. You know what I kind of want to watch again? I haven't watched in a little while. The Expanse. That was a good show.
It's
Expanse.
The Great Pumpkin, Charlie Brown.
Huh?
What did you... I didn't hear what you said.
I said The Expanse, and then he said
Oh.
The Great Pumpkin, Charlie Brown, and I was like, huh?
Oh, I was trying to guess what you wanted to watch.
Oh, no.
Arctic Mini Painting said Powerpuff Girls. I think everyone thought this was going to be a guessing activity.
I didn't think you were going to guess, so I just said it. You got straight to the point.
You sold it to us as a question.
You're right. I'm wrong. You're 100% correct here.
We feel robbed.
Okay, how about another one? What show am I never going to watch?
Chuck just started to rewatch The Expanse while Zwifting. I don't know what that means.
I don't know what that means
Zwifting.
either.
Killing Time said Expanse is a great sci-fi, one of my top 5.
What are your other 4?
That's a good question.
You make me do the work? I have to Google it? Is it... Am I going to regret this?
Yes.
I
Who
feel
who
like I
told you to
might.
Google what?
Chuck, I trust you.
What are you googling?
Zwift.
Oh,
Am
I
gonna
don't know if
regret
you should
this?
Google that.
Zwift. Oh, it's like, okay. I'm gonna let everyone else wonder. Oh, he just told us though. It's like a Peloton.
Is that a bike?
The Mad Teabagger. I thought that said Mad Tea Badger. I'm gonna call you Tea Badger. Thank you for the follow.
Wow.
It sounds like one of those silly Tic Tacs the kids are talking about. It's cooler than a Peloton, and Peloton's pretty cool. Peloton has like a video game thing now too. Although I haven't even assembled the Peloton since we've moved into our house. And I don't remember the last time I rode it in the old house. I was reading what Mo wrote, Bob. The last time I did ride the Peloton, they had recently introduced a little video game aspect of it as well, which seemed pretty cool. Not for me. I didn't care, but I thought Jason would like it.
I didn't know.
Oh,
this.
you use your own bike? Well, we already have one. We already have the Peloton, and we need to use it. So, if I can use this Zwift thing with my Peloton, then maybe I'll ride it again. Killing Time said Farscape, Red Dwarf, The Expanse, Doctor Who, and Firefly.
Interesting.
The fact that Doctor Who is in there is a little disconcerting.
Don't care for Doctor Who?
Not a Doctor Who fan at all.
I believe I've been talking about myself, saying that I haven't ridden the Peloton. So what I'm saying is, I'm thick and need to work out.
I'm excited for that gym to open up eventually.
When's that gonna happen?
October.
Oh,
That's coming up.
that's Sunday.
Holy crap.
October 1st is Sunday.
Oh my
Uh-oh.
gosh. What happened to September?
It
went
gone.
away.
I feel like yesterday was September 1st.
There's only 30 days. So
Hey,
it goes by faster.
It gone.
You're right. It is gone. It is no longer here.
Who let that happen? September didn't happen this year. I would agree that we just didn't have a
concur.
September.
Yeah.
It was an 11
September
month
did
year.
not happen.
Neither did August or July.
Okay, we skipped right past September and we went from August to October.
I feel
I don't know what the hell
mean,
you guys have been doing, but I got a lot done in September.
Did you?
Yeah, I mean, we have an entire new paint production machine on the way.
It's true.
Oh yeah. When is that supposed to show up?
End of October, beginning of November.
Okay, that's exciting.
It is actually very exciting.
Yeah. That
Goes
wasn't.
to, I think the whole team out there got involved in this new gym. Maybe not the whole team, but several of them.
A
I
lot of
think.
us. Yeah, a lot of us. Did.
You, Ruben,
Carter,
Carter.
Phil.
Brennan, Phil,
Nice.
or Brennan, Phil.
Jacob.
Did Jacob also get one?
I don't remember.
I don't think Jacob did.
Jacob would be like, I already work out. I lift weights one card at a time.
getting almost nice enough to where we can like go take a walk during the day. This morning it was only 70 degrees when I took the dog out,
They're not silly.
which is almost in the 60s, which is cold.
I mean, I turned off my fan in my office today.
Did you? I had a sweatshirt
Yeah.
on.
It was like actually cold.
Hey, Gabe's office was cold.
Yeah, it's like the AC is finally working in our.
Well, because it's not
It's
a
not
million
hot
degrees
outside.
outside, so it's actually efficient.
Yeah, I guess
actually
that makes
working.
sense. Yeah, it does make sense.
You are about to experience why everybody comes to Arizona in the winter.
I am very excited about this. And at least I don't have to worry too much about the traffic getting worse, which is good.
Yeah, not for your commute. My commute has gotten absolutely crappy.
Yeah, I've heard
For as short as we have to come to work.
Yeah, because you guys are super close.
Oh my god, yeah, and it's just insane.
How long does it take you guys to get to work in the morning?
Today, it took me over 20 minutes.
What
Seriously?
the
Yeah.
heck?
What'd you do?
Drove?
I drove.
It takes me about 9 most days. 7 to 9 minutes.
Today, every light had 100 freaking zillion people
Yeah.
in front of me at the light.
I'm telling you. The left on 3rd to Clarendon. Miss all that stuff.
Yeah,
You still have to go by the school, but that part's not bad. And 7th Avenue is kind of annoying. But once you get past that, you get turn onto 3rd, and then it's easy. Fill a couple of those 5-row card boxes that hold like 5,000 cards or whatever and carry those around a bit, and that'll get you sweating.
Yep.
It's Jacob's workout. I don't speed. That's the thing. I get mad at people who speed. And I like point, I'm like, the speed limit is 35 right here. You need to slow down.
That's illegal. You're not allowed to go that speed.
Well, and I'm very, very, I don't know what the right word is, but I get really irate very quickly and easily when people go above 15 in a school zone.
Oh yeah, I mean, you used to be a teacher. This makes a lot of sense.
And then related, I get just as mad when people don't know that you can go back to regular speed after the crosswalk.
Afterwards, yeah.
After the crosswalk. Like, you don't have to go 15 when you're past the crosswalk. You don't have to go to the other sign. Once you get to the crosswalk, you're done. You've done your part.
I thought you had to go speed limit all throughout the school zone.
When you
Well,
hit
it does when it's posted.
Yeah.
Where we're talking about it's
I'm
not
talking about
posted.
the 15 mile when they roll the signs out into the middle of the street
Oh, sure.
where you have to go 15, and they do that like I don't know how many yards before the crosswalk, and then once you get to, so that you can stop when like quickly stop if they're crossing kids in the
Yeah,
crosswalk.
that makes sense.
Your school zones are 20?
Yeah, in Texas it's 20.
Huh?
School zones are 20 in Texas.
Seriously?
Yeah.
Oh,
I mean, they always were when I was there.
I thought that was like 15
Universally.
world, like, yeah, not universal, but like throughout the whole country.
No.
Interesting. Now, okay, are we talking about like when there's a crosswalk? Because like Jason is saying, there are school zones where it's a permanent sign that they post that when you, like the one by the high school over here on Thomas, it's 30. and you have to go 30 from the time the sign starts until the end of the school zone.
Yes.
Which is basically the entire length of the school, but there's no crosswalk on that. Well, there's a light, but they don't put out the, they don't have a crossing guard, is what I'm saying. If they have a crossing guard, then, they roll out a sign, like a temporary sign, that's 15 miles an hour, and from the sign to the crosswalk, you cannot go. Like, you get a ticket if you go 1 mile over, if they catch you. Like, if there's a cop there, they can technically give you a ticket for that. So that's what I'm talking about. And then once you get to the crosswalk, then you can go back to whatever the regular posted speed is. So I feel like we might all be talking about different things.
Yeah, I thought you were talking about just the regular.
No, I'm talking about when there's a crossing guard.
Yeah. Yeah. I
Walking
understand
kids
that.
across the street. Yeah. It's irreplaceable. Just make more. That's true. There's too many of them.
Did you just say there's too many kids?
I didn't. Arctic Mini Painting said kids are replaceable. Just make more.
Oh my gosh. I mean,
People do it all the time.
make
This
more of
is
them.
also true.
I mean, when you're right, you're right.
That's right. You can 3D print them. We had this conversation already.
Oh my
Ask
gosh.
Jezza.
Like to trade in your 3 for new models that listen.
These are defective.
Yeah.
Where do I return them?
Is there any kind of warranty situation here?
The ear mechanism has stopped working, or never came with it.
Yeah, I think it was missing parts.
Missing
Contact the
parts.
manufacturer. Oh.
It's in need of a service.
The voided the warranty when you repainted them. Well,
Oh my gosh.
all the new ones have worse ears. That's what I'm hearing. If you made them, you can sell them on Etsy.
I love chat.
Did you guys not get the customized package where you gotta, take out all the details?
I mean, weren't they selling kids on Wayfair or something like that?
Oh my god. I think you're right, actually. I remember hearing something
Honey,
about
no,
this.
they were selling.
They were selling cabinets.
They were selling cabinets.
Yes, cabinets.
Yes, pardon me.
Yes.
Cabinets. What kind of cabinet would you like?
The
yes,
one with a kid in it.
One with a 200 IQ.
My wife and I decided not to have kids. The kids are taking it pretty hard.
Oh my god, that's hilarious.
That is so good.
That's hilarious. I hope that your kids know you love them. And to follow that up, as a precursor, I hope you love your kids.
I hope you love your kids.
We know that you guys all love your kids who have them. Arctic, have a great day.
Bye,
See you next time.
Arctic. Is it work time for Arctic? Or home time?
Okay, while Tom John's talking about permanent signs, haven't seen any speed reductions when there are crossing guards specifically. So they don't have the metal signs that
Yeah, I don't think they had them in Seattle either.
really? Huh.
They
What do you
don't.
mean, like we do here, babe?
Yeah.
Yeah, we didn't have that in Texas either.
Yeah.
It's just 20-mile-an-hour school zone with flashing lights. You go 20 miles an hour through the whole zone. If there was a crosswalk, you stop for it.
Mm-hmm.
That's it.
Huh.
Yeah, and they
So the
typically have like
crosswalks-
big
do the
flashing
crosswalks
lights.
all have like stoplights?
A lot of them do. Well, not
Okay.
stoplights per se, but they have like big flashing signs that say "Stop when flashing." Yeah.
I guess I mean there's a lot of schools here that are like the school that we pass every day is a K through 3 school
Yeah.
where kids are crossing a major street to
Yeah.
get there. So that's crazy to me
Yeah.
that they don't have crossing guards and stuff for them.
Well, they have crossing guards in Texas.
Yeah, the crossing guards still exist. They just don't have signs that say "Slow down to 15 miles an hour."
Interesting.
You're in a school zone going 20, so you already know.
Well, the other thing too is that like typically when there are a lot of kids, it's pretty obvious when you should be like driving slow.
Well, and
So
I have
You're
to
giving
admit,
a
like
lot
in
of-
Texas, you got like triple or quadruple fine in school zones,
Yeah.
and they enforce the crap out of it, so
Yeah.
you knew.
yeah. I don't know if it was quadruple in Seattle, but everybody generally followed the school zone.
Like speeding in a
Yeah,
school
here
zone
not.
was detrimental to your driver's license.
That's one of my biggest pet peeves because people do it so frequently.
Yeah. Especially when like school is active, like people will drive really slow.
Most of the schools by us are across the street or close to a bar, so people are already going slow to turn into the bar. I don't know if that's real or not, but
Wait, there's a school
I
that's
thought you
near
couldn't
a
have a
bar.
school next to a bar.
I'm pretty sure every state in the union has a rule that you can't have a bar within.
A
Like
certain
100
period.
It
yards
may
or
be
something.
100 yards or 100 feet in some places, but
Is that real, Jade, though? Is
That's
it really they're
wild.
right next to a bar, across the street from a bar?
no.
The world is weird.
Indeed. This I agree with.
Schools in T. Schmidt's district have crosswalks at stoplight intersections, and almost even have a cop posted with lights on during times. Well, that's good.
Yes, that was another thing that I was familiar with seeing. Is there
Oh, school zones in Canada are 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. now. Ours are like 7 to 3 or something, 7 to 4 maybe.
I was
Get a
used
mead
to.
brewery at your school?
What the heck?
Are you talking about a college?
Yes.
I hope so. It's funny because I'm like envisioning the elementary school that I lived across from in Seattle.
It have a
When
bar?
we're having this conversation, it did not have a
Oh,
bar.
okay.
But I'm envisioning like a bar being across
Adult
the street
bookstore?
from this place, and I'm like, that would be so weird.
I have relatives in Wisconsin. Everything is across the street from a bar. Wisconsin has more bars than people. Oh my goodness. Bring your child to the bar and buy them a cocktail. What? No.
These people are lying to you, Jen, and you're biting it hard. Hook, line, and sinker over here.
Hook, line,
Pittsburgh-
and sinker.
In
over
Pittsburgh,
here.
it says 300 feet for bar near school. Wow.
All right.
Okay, but Dapperwacky, you're not in America.
You are not in America.
Scandinavia. Okay. Can confirm all Wisconsin facts about bars. Norway. Okay. Wow. I had no idea I was so sheltered. For all of the complaints.
You didn't have Friday open bar at your elementary
All
school?
the complaints about Arizona, we're doing a few things right, maybe.
You didn't have open bar on Fridays
No,
at your school?
not until I got to college.
That's why I failed 6th grade 7 times. Because the junior high didn't have that.
The open
So
bar.
Dapperwacky,
or
I'm very now I'm interested. Was it a class? Like a mead making class? Is this a trade in Norway? Yeah, you'd probably be surprised. I used to be a teacher, King Psycha, so I've seen some things with teachers and drinking.
Teachers and drinking.
Yeah.
Oh God.
Yes, it was a class part of kitchen craft. Okay. Also fermented berries, but all of those didn't pan out. Oh. I can see it at a college, Chuck. That makes sense. But at 14,
It's hard to imagine.
It's different. It's just different than what I'm used to. If Jason was in Wisconsin instead of Texas, his grandma wouldn't have stopped her drinking after the incident. They just started drinkers there. I mean, they that used to be like the beer headquarters, right? Was Wisconsin? T-Schmidt, I taught mostly 8th grade. I taught 3rd grade for 1 year and 5th grade for 2. And then the rest of the time was 8th grade. So 13, 14 years old. You didn't have to be 21 to buy the stuff to make beer. I remember being in high school brewing beer in my friend's garage.
That's wild. Like, actually wild.
It wasn't for consumption. The teachers claimed to dispose of it after class. Well, we know. We know the truth.
I mean, I'm going to be honest. I can't imagine that as a school teacher that I would want to drink anything that my students made.
I mean,
alcohol-wise.
I gotta tell. Well,
Poo-fingered
alcohol-wise.
teenagers.
My
Yeah.
favorite day was the day that the cooking class had their cooking day, because part of the grade that they got was to take samples out to teachers. So on cooking days, which were usually Fridays, at 15 minutes before the end of each class period, a kid would come in and give me food and say, I made this. Please taste it in front of everyone, and then give me a
Did you ever
grade.
hack any of it up?
No, it was all good.
Damn it.
That's the shame, because I would love to have...
Never let the truth get in the way of a
We
good
had
story.
really,
Jennifer.
we had, they made stuff that was fairly straightforward and simple that was kind of difficult to mess up.
Got
There
it.
was one, before I started, I heard the story that one day they were making cookies or something like that, and one of the stations, the teacher noticed that they had used salt instead of sugar.
Oh, no.
Well, how did we get to now we need to ask Jason about his rap album?
I have no idea how we got there.
Oh, because KTP thought it was monument lore because T. Schmidt asked what grades I teach. KTP already knows about your rap album. Making beer is as easy as making mac and cheese. What?
Incorrect. I can make mac and cheese in like 15 minutes. Beer takes much longer.
Yep. We made root beer in my science class growing up.
I did make root beer in school.
Yeah, that was fun. I remember that.
Sarsaparilla, actually.
Sarsaparilla.
It tasted a little bit like donkey butt.
Yeah.
Mine was actually pretty good.
Ours was a deal with like the supposedly the original recipe way that they made sarsaparilla,
Oh, got it.
and so it
Okay.
didn't have tons of
Yeah.
sugars in it and stuff like that.
Yeah,
It was
yeah.
pretty gross.
Yeah, I think we made pretty traditional root beer. And aside from being a little flat, ours tasted mostly like root beer. Remember that.
When you were in home ec, you accidentally lit a tea towel on fire. What is a
funny.
tea towel?
Like a little dish towel.
Oh,
Evening, folks. Anything going on? Lone Samurai.
this is the United States. We only drink iced tea, and you don't need a towel for it.
We're talking about a whole bunch of random stuff today.
Yep.
While Jason and Jordan are painting.
Lone Samurai, what's going on? Chilling, talking about home economics.
Yeah. Cooking up
The
some
different
beer and home
things
ec.
that kids cook in their schools around the world.
Asking the questions we all want to know about how beer gets made
Hot
in
tea
high
is
schools.
good.
Our cooking classes stock the cafeteria in your high school? Work around child labor? Seriously?
What the heck? That's insane.
They just had
I-
three full hours of child labor
Well,
for
they had,
cooking for your lunch?
So when I was training, one of the schools that I went to, they had a culinary program, and it was they cooked the food that the kids ate, and it was all like fancy
That's cool.
food that they had for lunch, better than
we
the rectangle pizza.
had microwave rectangle pizza.
Yeah. With,
And
like,
I
the
would
little
rather have the
triangle
microwave
pieces
rectangle pizza
with the
at that
triangle
age.
pieces of pepperoni.
Yes, it did. It had them cut. It was the circle pepperoni, but they were cut into quarters, so
Yeah.
they look like triangles.
Yep.
We had pretty
there.
good
They
like
still
deli
do that
sandwiches.
with, and you know why? That's why I like Stouffer French bread pizza.
'Cause that's the
They
same
do the
kinda
same
thing,
and
yeah.
it's the same
Yeah.
thing, except it's not flat, right?
Yeah.
But that's why I like Stouffer French bread pizza. I should ask you to get some of those at the grocery.
Oh,
They made
see,
salads
Gabe
and
did
stuff
that.
in the mornings for lunch and baked goods in the afternoon for the next day. Well, there you go.
Gabe did that in middle school. Before school, make breakfast at a little cafe.
So my school didn't have a cafe.
No, schools were schools when we were in school.
Mine was more like a prison. We got like one slice of bologna, one slice of American cheese, 2 slices of stale white bread, and a cup of lukewarm lemonade. That was our lunch every day.
I mean, my
And it was
school
like
was
$5.
not quite as advanced as Gabe's was, but we definitely had better food.
We had Salisbury steak was the height of our life.
Yeah, we
One
had
thing
like
we did
a,
have, I think lunch in the lunch line was $1.
Yeah.
I think you had to bring like
Oh.
$1 or
A
$1 and a
ticket.
quarter.
Or a ticket. You
Or a
got
ticket.
tickets, yeah.
yeah. I want to say ours was $5.
Yeah, Lone Samurai, I'm with you. It was like, that was a long time ago. That was, when I was getting lunch at school would have been 40 years ago, 40 plus years ago.
Wow, that was a long time.
Yeah, like $1 for a ticket or something like that, right?
Meanwhile, I'm like, man, I've been out of.
And the
high
only
school
thing I
for-
could look at was that you could spend that dollar on like 2 things out of the, or like 4 things out of the vending machine,
Mm.
which had like the Little Debbie's cakes and stuff
Oh,
like
we didn't
that.
have a vending machine.
Yeah,
until
in
high
high school
school.
you got a vending machine, and what
Yeah.
was you had the lunchroom, and then you had, I forget what the other place was called. It was just a bunch of tables out in the middle of an open area with a bunch of vending machines. It was where all the like older kids, seniors and juniors, hung out and all that.
Yeah.
But the group I ran with was all seniors and juniors, and so I went in that. It was like a loungy area
Yeah.
apart from the lunch line, and it's where
We had like the traditional line with the trays and stuff like that, and then we also had like
Yeah, like
I
an
don't know
a
what
la
they called
carte.
it, but lines where you just went in line, and that's where I would like I didn't go through the main lunch line and get like the Salisbury steak. That's where I got my bagel and my Diet Coke and my donut.
that's kind of what this was, I
Yeah.
guess.
Kind of like a la carte style.
A la carte. That's
Yeah.
the word I was looking for. But and then my high school had an open.
Spat Snat says Friday was soup. You could identify Monday through
Yeah.
Thursday's lunch in the soup.
There you go. But my high school had an open campus, so we were allowed to leave at lunchtime.
Yeah, so was mine. For
go-
juniors and seniors.
Ours was anybody who had a car, but then they eventually
maybe that was it.
closed it.
Maybe that was it.
Yeah.
Oh, they
And
closed
triangle
it off?
hash browns.
Well, it was my school was huge, and it was I can't believe that they had it open because we
How-
only had
how
like
big was your
40
school?
minutes. I mean, there were 1,000 kids in my graduating class, so
Yeah, we had over
that's
1,200.
big. 3,000.
That is large.
Yeah, it's pretty big.
I'm curious how many were in mine. That's a thing that I can like look up. right?
Graduation day sucked because it took hours
it took
and
a lot.
hours and
We
hours
had the
to get
entire
through.
football field. For
Yeah,
everybody.
it was silly.
Um,
School was so big.
but yeah, so we only had like 40 minutes for lunch, and you can imagine the logistical nightmare of getting 3,000 kids, 3,000 cars. It's obviously not that much because the sophomores, most of them could not drive. But yeah, we had 4 massive parking lots
Yeah, we didn't even have enough parking lots. It was
Yeah.
every neighborhood in the area.
and
House
two,
value was dragged
two
down because you had to park like on the
entrances.
street.
2 entrance exits, same. So 4 parking lots, but only 2 ways in and out.
Yeah, my school might have been about that size then, because we had 3 or 4 parking lots.
Mhm.
We had a very large campus. I'd have to look it up.
Class of 2011, 2 people.
That was me, 2011. Yeah, I graduated in 2011.
Yeah, Hipster Gumby High School is quite different now from when Jason and I were in school. Omicron Samurai went to Dobson High School in Mesa.
I remember that by the time my sisters, who were the oldest was 8 years younger than me, by the time they got to high school and went to the same high school I did, well, I guess they didn't. I think they redid lines, and they wound up going to the competing high school that I did. But by the time they got there, they had like metal detectors and
Yeah.
Wow.
stuff
Really?
like that.
My high school also only had 10th, 11th, and 12th grade.
So was mine.
Ninth grade was still in junior high.
Ninth was a freshman in high school, but was in junior high.
In junior high, yep.
In the building for junior high, which was clear across town.
I think mine was 4.
Yeah, most of them are.
I think was mine.
Now, mine, the high school I went, now it's 9 through 12, I believe.
Yeah.
I think that's
I get a little bit confused because I used to live in California, and when I grew up in California, I went to a K through 8, and then I moved to a traditional middle school, or traditional elementary school, which
just through 6, 5 or 6.
through 6,
yeah.
and then 6 through. Oh no, it would have been 6 through 9. So I did 8, 9, 10.
Oh, 6 through 9.
Yeah.
Mine was K through 6, 7 to 9, 10
Yeah.
to 12.
That's
Yeah.
how mine was too.
That's the way Texas was at the time. I don't know what they do now.
Gabe also had over 1,000 in your class. Yeah, it's a long time. Well, I mean, and now it's pretty common at the high schools here. You know, like Phoenix Union High School. Well, first of all, it's huge.
Yeah.
But you know, my friends who have kids who graduated from high school recently, they have them at State Farm Stadium at the football field where the Cardinals play.
Yeah.
That's where the
That's
graduation
where
is
mine
held.
was. Yeah.
But it was,
I mean, not
I mean,
same place,
obviously
but-
it's not full because that
yeah.
holds like 70,000 people. You went to Dobson, Omicron? I'm sure I'm much older than you, but that's awesome.
Jen's 28. How about you?
I graduated in 1990, and don't tell me that you weren't even born then.
Get ready for it, babe.
I can't say anything, Jen. I won't say anything. I promise.
No, I know you were born in 1990. You were 93, right?
Yeah, 93. Yeah. I am exactly 30 years old.
I wasn't even a thought in 1990. Yeah, well, you know, I'm old, so. Gabe, I can do that math. Oh, your older sister was maybe my year. Okay. It was, I mean, as you know, very huge, and I knew like 5 people, so I probably did not know her, but who knows?
Did you say you're like, I knew only 5 people?
Seriously, I was very, very shy. So I
She
had
still
my
is.
small group of
Still is.
friends, and like most of my friends from high school, I'm still friends with,
Got it.
that I talk to regularly. So
I was friends with everybody.
see that.
Yeah. I did not like to keep my. I mean, I definitely had like a regular group of friends that I hung out with, but
My senior year, I think my junior and my senior year, I was the staff artist for the school paper, and I was not in journalism class or anything like that. I just got one of the people in there had put my name in the hat to the journalism
He was
professor,
in my class.
and said that they needed to have a staff artist because they didn't have anybody, and you know, they said they knew somebody, blah blah blah. So the school allowed me to take that class. So it was whatever the newspaper class was. It was more like a study hall for me because I would just draw the pictures I needed to draw, and then I had nothing to do. Everybody else was doing their reporting. It was an old layout days where I had to cut all the type out and typeset it. They had a typeset machine, and they'd have to go get all that stuff and glue it down with the paste, and it was crazy. So it was fun to watch, but you know, I got voted because of that, because I was in there and with the people that put forth all of the stuff in the paper for like graduation and all that. I got voted as the one most likely to never be seen again or something like that.
What the heck?
Yeah, because I was very rarely around, you know, because of music and everything else. I was always like, I always got my work done and stuff, but I was always gone. So people were always like, you know, that Jason guy, he's never around. I'd be voted most likely to never be seen again. So then when I showed up at our 10-year reunion, people were flabbergasted.
Man, I would love to go to a reunion.
They're fun.
I would be so fascinated to see.
Mine was kind of like going to the zoo. I just wanted to show up and see. I was surprised at how many people were like old and balding looking and
Yep.
stressed and 20 kids and
Yep.
I didn't go to any of mine.
You what?
Because I didn't go to any of my reunions because, as I mentioned, I am still friends with all my friends from high school.
Everything you were going to do
And
at
I
a reunion,
still
you
know
just do
them.
on
I talk
that's
to
Monday.
Well, you know what's really funny? My 10-year reunion would have popped up during COVID.
Oh, yeah.
So
Yeah, I remember a lot of
Never-
people talking about that, like
Yeah.
it was their reunion time and they missed it, and so
Yeah.
that kind of sucks. It's fun if you're ever wondering. I mean, unless you just absolutely didn't know anybody, but even then, it's fun to go back and watch because I guarantee you remember some of those people.
Yeah.
Omicron, yes. John Holmberg he graduated in my class. I knew him, sort of. He was
Sort
actually
of.
good friends with my best friend. They were drama partners. But that's the only connection I have to him.
Lone Samurai, you generally don't do reunions? An interesting thing, right? To go back and see all the people you had those formative years with. It wasn't that I was antisocial. It's just that my friend group was not involved in my school because my friend group spawned mainly from my music life. And so they were either out of state or already graduated and, from the club scene where I was playing. So it's just the way it was. I had a few friends in high school, but not very many.
Spatsnat's sister-in-law went to high school with Ted Bundy.
Well, you got that going for you.
Yeah. I don't think that there is anyone of note other than the local morning radio DJ that I went to high school with.
I'd be curious to see
Yeah, I don't think anybody from my graduating class was
of note.
well, everybody's of note in a way or another. I'm just saying anybody that anybody else would know.
Yeah. I am also very curious about this now, to be honest. Bothell High School. Up in Washington State.
I can remember many a time meeting people out and about who were people that had gone to the same school with me, like in an adult life. Like I got waited on in a restaurant. People would be like, "Are you Jason Craze?"
Yeah.
And I'm like, "Yes." And I was like, "Oh my God." You'd take a minute, you'd look as one of those, "Oh my God."
Mine, my weird thing is so I taught mostly 8th grade. My students were like 13, 14 years old. The weirdest thing is seeing them years later because you change so much.
Your students?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So like there have been times when I'll be, I don't know, in line at a store and the person ringing me up is like,
Oh, that happened to us at Starbucks out in the boonies.
Yes, at Black Rock Coffee.
Yep.
Yes, that was
Oh, it was
Alexa.
not Starbucks, but
Yeah,
it was
yeah.
like a coffee joint out in the boonies.
Yes.
And a girl that you had taught.
Alexa, yep.
Mrs. Hoffman?
Yeah.
Or Miss Hoffman?
Yeah.
I
And
remember
then
that.
the kid at the I think it was like Dunkin' Donuts or something like that. The kid who played hockey.
Yeah.
Help you up.
The skin starts to come alive once you start blacking stuff in.
Yep.
Xenophonetic said, "What's up, turkeys? What are you talking to my dog?" Spawn, what's going on? Irish Rock went to the same high school as Neil Patrick Harris and Freddie Prinze Jr.
Well, that's neat.
Like around the same time? I feel like those two are kind of about the same age. They're more aged than you. But the two of them might be the same age or close. And I think they're both younger than me and Jason.
What's that?
Neil Patrick Harris and Freddie Prinze Jr.
Are they?
Maybe a few, because Neil Patrick Harris was Doogie Howser, so I mean, I felt like when Doogie Howser was on, I was a little bit older than the character of Doogie Howser.
That sounds familiar, but I don't know.
Of course I had big hair. It was 1990.
Oh,
Big
yeah,
hair.
she did. She had
I
the
didn't have,
whoop, the
I
poodle
didn't
front.
have it as big as No Smile Jen. Her hair doesn't fit in the frame of the picture. Like
Yeah.
it gets cut off on the sides.
Yeah, she had the poodle front, the big hair.
I
Jean
sure
jacket.
did.
She had her Canadian tuxedo on.
Oh my gosh.
Not in my school picture.
Well, Samara says, hell, I had big hair in
Yeah.
1980.
A bowl cut.
I was lazy. I had a pretty tall mohawk for a lot of years, but I never put it up. So, unless it was like going out night, and there's no pictures of that. So, it was always down in front of my eye. You've seen some of those pictures.
Spawn Maximus has a question maybe someone could help with. I've got a squad of 10 world eaters with bare arms and chests. The maybe flesh for the most part is complete, but I want to make the flesh look irritated and beat on. What colors would you recommend as glazes and or washes?
I just need to back up a
achieve?
minute. They have bear arms.
Huh?
Bare
Bare
arms.
Paint their bear arms brown for sure.
Was it black bear arms or?
I just want to.
Oh my gosh.
That bear. Oh, that was a built-in dad joke, Spawn. Thank you.
Or are they bearing arms?
I've got a squad of 10 world eaters with bare arms and chests. The flesh, for the most part, is complete. Flesh. But I want to make the flesh look irritated and beat on. Glazes and or washes to achieve what you're looking for. Magentas are a really good range. You can see me using dark magenta here. Now I've put the flesh tones over the top, but you can see how it gives it a little bit of reddish. It's trending into hot pink because it's going over the white on the pre-highlight here, so you can see where it gets real bright hot pink, and that's the parts that I'm covering up now. But in what's left, you get that kind of reddishness. If you go with reds, you have to be careful because they look a little too deep sometimes. So like a dark magenta or mixing magenta and red together is going to do it because you get that kind of irritated pinkish skin out of it. Mixing the dark magenta with the flesh tone that you've like highlighted with or as your mid-tone is a really good way to do that because then you get a skin tone that's like irritated flesh color as opposed to trying to just glaze magenta over, because if it settles into the recesses, it doesn't really do what you want it to do. I'm doing that here because of the demonic skin that I'm trying to create. But if you're going for more of an irritation look, you want that irritation to be on the highlighted parts more. So taking your highlight color, mixing it with a little magenta and glazing that just on the high spots works really well. Rocket Chicken, what's going on?
Rocket Chicken.
82 months.
What?
Holy
Rocket
cow.
Chicken. I think this is the time where the next person is Orc Pride.
I just throw back my legs and pollute my britches with delight.
I think Orc Pride comes in because Rocket Chicken holds the trophy until Orc Pride resubs, and then Orc Pride's like 86 or something. I think
Oh my
I know that
goodness.
there's a few. I feel like there's somebody that's 84.
there's a couple of them that are over 7 years. The old timers, yeah, exactly, Big Bob. Yeah, Gosu nailed it. You need a good tutorial for bruising for your wolves and world eaters, actually. So bruising tends to look best with purples and yellows and greens, and layering them up. I tend to do like a dark purple base, then a yellow, then a green over the top of that, and then a flesh glaze over the top of that, right? Because the bruise is subdermal, right? Subcutaneous, I think is the word.
Mm-hmm.
It starts from underneath. It's not sitting on top. So any bruising that you want to do, it's like tattoos. They're not on top of the skin, they're under it. And so you want to glaze skin back over the top in most cases, so it doesn't look like spilled grape juice or something. But yellow ochre, yellow green or green yellows, dark purples, things like that mixed in with your flesh or glazed on is great for bruising, because depends on early or late stage. The earlier stage, it's going to be reds and purples and greens. And then the late stages, it starts to get that yellow jaundice color around the main central bruising area, which is green and purple generally.
It depends on how old you want the bruise to look.
Coxie, what's going on?
Also use reference. Reference is really good for that kind of stuff.
Yes, go out and bang yourself on all the corners of your
no.
house,
Not
and
that
your
kind of
car
reference.
doors, and things like that. That way your reference is right there close, so that you can reference it right there close.
I feel like this is bad advice.
I feel like one of the coolest things you could do is to go get references of everything you want to paint tattooed on your arm that holds the model.
Yeah.
So you can always be like, how did non-metallic look? Okay, great.
Yeah.
Right? How did
That's
that bruise look? Okay, great.
I just need tattoo references for when I do tattoos.
Well, you have that there too. See, easy, all in one.
It's an all-in-one.
I'm a
package.
solutions provider.
You are.
I am providing solutions. This is why Jen doesn't listen to me much anymore, because this is kind of what she gets at home when she asks me questions. Is this crazy?
Yeah,
dribble
nobody
that-
gets a tattoo from Jason until I get a tattoo from Jason.
Yep, she has to wait. Everybody has to wait for Jen, and since Jen's never
Where's
getting one, that means
my
nope.
tattoo?
You bruise like a
I'm
peach.
waiting.
I remember when I played football as a kid,
waiting.
your teachers
I'm
thought
not-
your parents were abusing you. Oh my God. I used to come home after hockey game or practice or whatever and have to go to work, right? With a big black eye,
Yeah.
this whole side of my face all bruised.
All right. It's about time for me to go.
What?
I know.
What?
I
Say
gotta leave
no.
early today.
Jen's leaving us.
Leaving early.
Jen has to go home, let the dog out, and come back.
Yeah.
We have a very posh dinner tonight.
Posh.
Oh,
Very
you're going to a
posh.
posh
It's very
dinner.
posh.
Need
Very
to change
posh.
out of my hobby nerd shirt.
Very posh. She
Put a
can't be
nicer
wearing a
shirt on.
t-shirt to
Brush
go to
my
the
hair.
Gladly.
Maybe put on some nicer shoes.
Some nicer
We'll see.
shoes. I'm not doing anything. I'm going just like I am.
You look fine. Bye, everybody.
It's
I'll
funny. I
see
went to
you-
one. I went to
see
one
you
of my
tomorrow.
meetings. I went to one of my meetings, and a guy goes, "Oh, are you a chef?"
What?
I go, "No, why?" And he goes, "Oh, I am, and I just changed out of that exact same shirt."
That's funny.
Do you want me to bring you a fresh shirt?
No, I'm fine.
He's toasty good. Jen, like, he's fine.
Yeah, I was
Oh.
gonna say you don't even have cauliflower ear, Big Bob. How'd you avoid that? Did you wear one of those sissy wraps on your ears?
Bye, Jen.
I'm calling him out.
See you
I'm calling him
tomorrow.
out.
All right. I really want to try this not oil wash on this guy.
Oh God.
I know.
After all that effort, this will show how great our product is, guys. You're about to see the wondrous reveal.
I want to
Of
do a
how-
little.
How amazing! You need to let Gabe do a before and after picture of him.
Okay.
That'll be a perfect thing.
Yeah.
Hey, Jabe, Gabe, get camera, come room,
Get
photo
camera,
model,
come room, please.
Gabe. I'm just gonna call him Gabe. Gabe, get camera, come room, take photo.
You want me to actually go grab him?
He'll hear it, or he won't. Fired. He's probably leaving, right?
That's why I was asking
Damn
if
it.
you want me to grab him.
I think Jen might have talked to him about producing for the rest of the day.
He was not unavailable.
Unavailable.
Yeah.
Aw.
Do you want me to go ask him really quick?
Yeah, go ask him really quick if he can take a photo so that you can continue your painting.
Yeah.
Tell him if he doesn't, I'm never buying him another camera. Okay. So it turns out the largest spender of money in our entire business is Gabe. Gabe came to me today during lunch and he says, "Can I have the credit card?" Oh no, he said, "Jen told me to get the credit card." I'm like, likely story. Jen would never give you the credit card. Turns out she did. So I had to give him the credit card. I still don't know what he bought. So that's going to be a surprise. Yeah, exactly, Gosu. That's exactly Gabe. But Jason, think about all the things we could do in 8K. That's Gabe. How did you know Gabe so well? Spawn Maximus. You got one of the smaller sets recently. You've taken all your Pro Acryl paints and retired them to the dark, and you've taken all your non-Pro Acryl paints and retired them to the darkness of the closet. Gotcha. That's awesome. Spawn, thank you. That's great. Glad you're liking them. Lone Samurai, you still need that Rogue Hobbies affiliate code? I don't have a call set up with her, but we're trying to set up a call. I'm expecting an email back from her this week. We will get that set up soon, at minimum. We got a lot of really cool stuff we want to do with Louise. We'll see if she's game. We'll see if she's brave enough to work with the insanity. That is Monument Hobbies. We all float here. You got hooked by DD Bills? Great, awesome. DD's great. He's local to us. Does a brush cleaner need to be kept cool? No, but it can't be left out in the sun either. Just room temperature is fine. It doesn't have to be anything special. But if it does get into, like if you leave it on the dash of your car, or some people do, or leave it in a bag in your car, it might melt and separate. Then just stir it back up and leave it at room temperature. Don't put it in the refrigerator ever, because it'll get hard and it still works. The material doesn't change. It makes it harder to work with if you put it in the refrigerator to cool it, because it becomes brittle, right? It loses its paste quality, right? So just be aware of that. But no, you don't have to keep it cool or chilled or anything like that.
Found it.
Did you find agave? Hey, if he doesn't have time, we can do it tomorrow. Yeah, I don't want him. If he's not able to produce, then he means he's probably got to get home for something.
Yeah, he's got a pickleball tonight.
Oh, that's right. Pickleball started back up. He's got to do the production stuff.
That's okay though, because that'll give me an opportunity to try out a plan that I have.
I think he runs the replay for the pickleball production.
He does.
Now.
Yeah, he does.
He's the replay guy. He doesn't
So,
have to be there early, but he still has to be there.
y'all can see what the next big old pile of things that I'm working on is.
Everybody, ooh. Oh.
Yeah, no, he got some stuff to do tonight. But that's fine. I have other stuff I can work on. So. I am prepared for this eventuality.
Bunch of heretics.
Yep.
More heresy. Oh. Are they definitely on the way?
Well, no, he doesn't know. They told him between 12 and 4.
Okay.
So he said
All right. Thank you.
yeah, do you want me to have him come?
Yeah, he needs to come tell us when he's left. I love DHL has like cable guy hours. Oh yeah, we'll be there between the hours of noon and 4:30.
Like, gosh darn it. You guys are the worst. I'm gonna go turn the thing on.
You don't have to use them a lot, which is good. But our our dealer in Singapore has to have DHL shipments. Because everybody else charges him too much, so goes the days. Big Bob says, looking forward to next month's challenge. Has Baby J said what next month's challenge is? I don't know. I turned that over to him. That way you guys can yell at him.
Turn what over to who?
the challenge stuff. Have you already said what next month's challenge is?
No.
Oh, some people are saying they're looking forward to it.
Well, yeah, because it's going to be exciting and awesome.
Oh, okay, cool.
But we don't announce them early.
That part I'm down for. I know you'll do something exciting and awesome. Because, Baby J, you're exciting and awesome.
Oh, thank you.
I gotta give him one every now and then, chat.
Hey. Hey, hey, hey.
I gotta give him one. I gotta throw him a bone every now and then, chat. I beat up on this guy quite a bit during the day.
I am a bit of a punching bag sometimes. But you know what? That's okay.
I beat up on him, chat.
I can take it.
His grandmother told me to.
Also, yes.
She actually did tell me not to take it easy on him, which I thought was very funny.
That's my grandma. Good old nanny.
She was awesome, by the way.
My grandmother?
What a freaking bullet.
Oh my god, she is. She is.
This tiny...
She's so small.
This tiny old
She
woman
is so small.
who is literally just like a bullet.
Yeah. I have a funny story related to her accent and us going to see Meet the Fockers in theaters.
Uh-huh. Oh, I already know what this story is.
Yeah. I'm gonna let you guys do the math, but let's just say it involved my grandmother, who is 100% Nicaraguan, by the way, so she's got a thick accent. Saying not what she meant to be saying to some poor guy at the ticket counter, who she was like, where? She was trying to ask, where is Meet the Fockers?
Yep.
But she instead said,
yep,
where the something something.
Yep.
Yeah. And it was hilarious.
Yeah, I bet everybody had a good time at that, except for your grandmother.
No, my grandmother was laughing.
Oh, okay.
Because here's the thing about my grandmother. She doesn't get it. So when we're laughing and this guy's like stunned,
yeah,
in silence, she says it again with emphasis.
Maybe you did not hear me the first
Yeah,
time.
that's exactly what it is. And she said it like 2 or 3 times, and I was like, Daddy, no, it's over here. It's this way.
That's so good, by the way.
That's so good. Yeah, she's great. She's a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful lady. And one heck of a... She had her adventures. And,
she got stories to tell, that one?
Yeah. She's also, like, hey, kudos to her for being so successful coming from, out of the country, getting out of Dodge of the craziness down there. And, she ended up working for the governor of Seattle. And...
Washington, you mean?
Or, sorry, Washington.
Civics, Jordan, civics.
I know, it's 410. It's 410.
What does that have to do with anything?
Everything. Has everything to do with everything. But she ended up being the superintendent for the school. The whatever. The school system? School?
Oh, nice.
Yeah. She done did good. She a fancy lady. Well...
Very, very cool.
Well versed in all the things. Cool. And much to my... This is funny because I'm terrible with English. My grandfather was an English teacher. So my dad's like, how the heck did you end up being so bad at English? I was like, well, he's unfortunately not around to be chastising me on how bad my English is. So, that. Making a mess. Trying to get all this plastic shavings off of these guys before I prime them. I don't want little bits of things and Things and things.
Gunners.
Yep.
You get embarrassed at times when you see Americans interacting overseas?
Why?
That's very few and far between.
I mean,
I've traveled the globe and I've never seen any of the movie stuff. I'm sure it happens, but I've seen way more silly interactions from Europeans in the Caribbean than I have from Americans anywhere. Now, that's not to say that I haven't overheard some really spectacular mispronunciations in foreign languages with people trying really hard to do the local thing.
Yeah.
That's a totally different story.
Yeah.
Some of those people may have been me.
I've been there. I was young, so it was excusable.
But yeah, the story of us all being in 10-gallon hats and talking really loud so that dumb foreigners can understand you is well misrepresented in social circles. Tewksbury.
Tewksbury. Oh, love a toque. It's another movie that I really want to rewatch one of these days. Soonish. All the Lord of the Rings movies. Haven't seen in a little while. Be nice to go through.
No one's ever like, damn, spot on. I think I've actually been to Tewksbury. I think everyone cringes at their own countrymen abroad.
It's easy enough to make a fool of yourself.
Xenophonetic, you're just making up words. They expect the world to speak English and they get frustrated, like they can't believe that English isn't spoken overseas. I'm trying to think of when I've experienced the lack of English being a huge problem. Russia, when I was in Moscow, Kiev, English was hard to come by, and social going out. Anytime I was with who I was traveling with, obviously you didn't have to worry about it much. But I also have to admit I don't vacation much. So in all my travels, I've seen most of the world, but been through plenty of passports. But I've always been there in a group of either for work where people were receiving me for work, or obviously touring and stuff. And so you get to a point where the language was always pretty much not a barrier. Had interpreters all over the place, which led to lots of fun.
Yeah, I bet.
Interpreters for me speaking in front of big groups of people. That was always a lot of fun.
I remember you telling these jokes.
Yeah, those are always
these
fun
jokes,
stories.
These stories.
Yeah, but when you would go out, like all through the Pacific Rim and Asia and stuff, there were lots of places where you go to like a restaurant and you'd have to have somebody in my party would have to interpret for me because I wasn't going to tell you what was going on. But Omicron, she left, but I'll tell her. Yeah, Lone. I was going to say in Japan, English is fairly prevalent. In Hong Kong, English is fairly prevalent. And throughout the rest of China, all the factories that I would go to had representatives that spoke English, and usually the factory heads and chief engineers and stuff spoke English because they had to.
Yeah, they communicate. So
And there were a
much.
lot of those people that were Westerners, even if they had just gone from China to the West for schooling and such and come back. You know, you could see that they were culturally different, but
Yeah.
with some of the YouTubes and TikToks, it's embarrassing seeing some of my countrymen at home. I was gonna say, yeah, Spats. I would say that it's way more embarrassing watching Americans in America.
Yeah, we are pretty silly sometimes. All right.
Yeah, I mean, I was traveling to Hong Kong when it was still a British Commonwealth or whatever they call it. They still owned that unfortunate parcel of land with the sinking airport.
Hong Kong?
Oh my god.
British owned Hong Kong?
Huh?
Britain owned Hong Kong?
Yeah.
I did not know that.
Yeah. And it only got given back like a decade and a half ago.
Yeah. So yeah, because I'm not familiar with because Hong Kong, I always hear it as referred to as like separate in some sort of way.
The funniest is the videos of Americans being asked to point to America on the map and pointing to Russia.
What?
I mean, you can find stupid people everywhere, so that's no different than anywhere in the world. You know,
Yeah, I can't
if
think
you know
of-
your audience, you'll go find the ones, because those people don't make those videos to find smart people.
Yeah.
They make those videos to find idiots, and so they hunt out idiots, and they know what they're going to get. It's not like you walk down the street in America and ask people to point at a map just randomly like they'd like you to believe. That's all staged. Like most of the videos. You know, it's funny when people show me a video like, can you believe this happened? I'm like, what I can't believe is that there was a person there with their phone on to capture that particular moment, and
that's
you believe it's not
specific-
staged.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So no, I don't believe that's true at all. This is how new media works. Was it 23 years already, Lone Samurai? Oh my god, I'm old. I'm old. For every 2 smart people, you get 50 dumbasses. That's the problem with procreation.
True.
They let anybody do it. They let everybody do it. Yeah, the original Hong Kong airport was right in the middle of the city. And so you would come in and fly through downtown buildings. It was the scariest crap.
What the heck?
The scariest crap.
Are you serious?
Yeah. First
What
time I flew
the
into Hong
heck?
Kong, you flew into the middle of the city, and your wings of your airplane felt like they were like 2 feet from skyscrapers.
Oh my gosh.
It was nuts. Anybody experience this? Anybody old enough to have done this? Seen videos of it?
I'm gonna go home and Google a video of this.
You'll probably find it. Right? But obviously that couldn't handle the growth. So they built the other airport out in the middle of nowhere with a tram that gets you into Hong Kong proper, right?
Yeah.
Into like Kowloon or whatever it is. And you fly into that one. That one's sinking.
Oh no.
Yeah, that one they have to go jack up like and fill with ballast every year because it sinks at like a rate of seriously like half an inch a year or something like that.
Oh my
I'm
gosh.
probably off on my measurements. Right. But yeah, the Hong Kong airport is a
Yeah.
lesson in futility.
At what point are they like, let's just build a new airport?
Yeah, it's horrible.
Let's cut our losses and build us a new airport.
Omicron Samurai and Lone Samurai, we need to fight now? Yeah, Hong Kong's an amazing place. It's absolutely nuts. Well, it was. I haven't been to Hong Kong in years. Years and years. Well, I mean, I'm thinking that the Brits let go of it a decade and a half ago, and it's been 23 years. So I probably haven't been to Hong Kong since the early 2000s. No, the last time I would have gone would have been 2009. Right? So, still a long time. Was that 14 years ago? Ooh, boy, that's a long time. China pays a lot for infrastructure. They just don't know how to build it.
Yeah, aren't they having trouble with like building?
You were there in 04? China pays a ton for infrastructure. Hell, they paid the Netherlands, or I forget who it was, European, like Nordic European country to come in and build all their toll booths and toll roads for them. Paid out the waz for that, and that company took, from the way it was told to me, by a Chinese national I was traveling with. The country gave up a percentage of the tolls, prospective tolls from those roads.
Oh my gosh, to the Netherlands.
This was like a decade out investment this company made
Holy
to build
shit.
these highways to nowhere. Like literally, I was watching. You can still see it. Like on YouTube, you'll find videos of these highways to nowhere that lead to these cities that nobody lives in, and the buildings don't have any infrastructure. They're just buildings.
What the heck?
Have you seen this? They're called Chinese ghost cities.
Wow. What
The real estate market there is so insane, right? That so much money was being put into investing in like condos that people never even, they just read a pamphlet, invested in the condo, and never went and saw it. And what it generated were these big cities where there's no there's no water piping, there's no stairs in the buildings. They're just 30-story skyscrapers that are meant for condos that you could never live in because they don't have anything in them. They just poured the concrete to make the buildings. And you can drive by, and it's just like animals living in them. It looks like some post-apocalyptic landscape. It's crazy. You should go YouTube it.
I will.
YouTube Chinese ghost cities.
I feel like I
it'll
saw
blow
it
your
pop
mind.
up the other day,
It will
too.
blow your mind. Now that we've said it out loud, it'll be on your phone all the time. But
Yeah.
one of the Grand Tour episodes, they drove on one of those highways to nowhere. It was crazy. Looks like a high-rise zoo. Yeah, it's crazy, man. It's absolutely nuts. And that was happening when I was there in 2009. so the fact that it's making videos now for people are figuring out about it at YouTube in like the 2020s is pretty incredible. Yeah, China throws lots of money at infrastructure. It almost feels like what would we call this? Like the path to grandeur. I don't obviously want to get political, but it feels like they were trying to prove that they were an advancing nation by building all of this stuff. Mm-hmm. But like in Shenzhen and Guangzhou and the places where I would have to go to factories all the time, the buildings were built and they were these big marble palaces. It felt like Las Vegas sometimes from the way they were adorned inside with marble and stuff.
Oh, really?
They were just big square boxes. They weren't pretty, but they had finishes and stuff that were like brass and marble, and on the inside some of them felt like Las Vegas buildings, right? But no air conditioning and no sidewalks out front. The building came down to the footer of the building, and then it was dirt for 6 feet and then a curb in the road. And then that dirt 6 feet, people would have like their lawn chairs and pool tables all over the place. So there'd be a pool table that they would like 3 or 4 of them would lift out of the garage, pull out onto the dirt part, and play pool right out by the street curb, right for their break.
That's so weird.
It's just totally different world. You know, it's like they built all this stuff and it's crazy.
Very interesting.
They all look like Trump Tower. There was a lot of that. Yeah, it's a totally different culture, and their work culture and everything. We would talk to workers in the factories because it was big for us to make sure that the factories were treating workers fairly and all of that. I was in the electronics industry for a number of years, and then talking to these people with a translator. None of them spoke English, the ones that I would meet. They would be like, 16, 17, 18-year-olds. Mm-hmm. And the big problem that they were having is that those kids were making so much money in the 3-year, they would sign like 3-4 year contracts, kind of like going into the military, but they'd move from their villages out in the middle of nowhere into the city, work, get trained, learn a trade, do this thing, get paid a lot of money, and then at the end of the contract, they would jet and go back to the village because they had enough money for their entire family to live on forever.
Oh, what the heck?
Yeah, because the cost of living out there was
like nothing.
Nothing.
Yeah.
And so they're having a work shortage because at some point in time, the villages started running out of people to send.
Oh.
The families all had enough money that they didn't have to send kids anymore.
Yeah.
So it's like,
Wow.
I don't think that's that way anymore. I think but yeah, nuts stuff.
I did hear that they have a shortage of like more jobs that require a higher level of education because so many people went outside. Like there's such a high population of people who have left.
There was a thing that I read recently. I say recently, it could be in the last 3 years because I'm old.
Yeah.
That was they were offering incentives like tax abatement incentives and stuff for people to come back.
Yeah.
Who had traveled abroad and like live in the States or in Europe, UK, that they had big pay incentives and things like that to have those educated workers come back and work in China. I mean, they have a tremendously educated workforce.
Oh, 100. They probably have one of the highest volume in the world, just by how many people. Now, the percentage to the population is probably not necessarily the highest, but
I don't know those numbers.
But I wouldn't know. Yeah.
Need a Monument World tour. Feel it could make the ratings. Be unique, a nerd's perspective. Just travel the world.
That would be fun.
Trust me. All we got to do is make Monument run on autopilot. We're there. Big Bob, you got a plan?
We do the hobby.
See, that's the
lunches
problem,
from...
man. This is life. I can't imagine not doing this. Hanging out with you nerds during stream, sitting at my desk all day doing new stuff. Although today I would like to not be the. I had cool meetings, but again, it's all meetings.
You are so heavily like you got so many meetings this week.
It's never been
insane.
that way. Like when you first came, it wasn't that way.
I took one look at the schedule this week, because I have everybody's calendar active.
Yeah, the calendar's
online,
available for everybody. Yeah,
so I can make sure that I'm not trying to get info from you while you're in the middle of a meeting.
it's insane.
And it's crazy. You literally like I look at your schedule and it's literally just like my whole wall of stuff for the week is all just like orange, which is the color for Jason on mine.
Yeah.
And it's just like a wall of orange, which means he's just like in a meeting or streaming or not here every day.
Oh, that's crazy. It's killing me. It's all good stuff is the thing. I can't complain.
Yeah.
I was talking to somebody and I came up with a term, triaging great ideas, and that's what I feel like I'm doing lately.
Yeah.
Is we're having to run triage on all the fun stuff we want to do because there's just not enough time.
I would love for there to be enough time for us to do everything. And even with all the extra people who we brought on, it's not.
Oh, no. And we have an interview in the morning.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Yeah, we got a backfill and fulfillment for
cool.
Maddie 1.
Nice. Yeah, because Maddie 1's moved into doing
Wholesale,
right?
Yep.
Yeah. Nice.
She works with Phil.
Nice.
The longer you're there, the more meetings I'm on and the less work you can get done. It feels like that right now, Big Bob, and it's a struggle for me because I don't like that, you know. The outcome of the meetings is really good, but generally what they do is they make more work for me, and then I have more meetings that I can't get the work done for. So I've gotten better at delegating some.
All right, here's a question. Do we go straight on or at an angle?
I typically do my tanks at an angle just so they don't look so blocky, but I don't
That's-
overdo it. I just kind of like maybe 15 degrees or 10 degrees or something.
Something kind of like this, I feel like is appropriate.
It's like a photo of a human. You don't want to turn your head totally sideways, but you
Yeah.
like a little bit of that profile.
Yeah, just a little bit so it doesn't feel.
Blocky and symmetric,
Yeah.
right? Because tanks are too blocky, especially like 40K tanks.
Yeah.
They're all big chunks of squares.
How do you feel about this? This is a good percentage.
Oh, yeah. I think stuff like that is perfect.
Yeah.
Just a little slight variation in the way it's facing.
Yes,
Just makes it a little more interesting. And when you put it on the table, it doesn't feel like, it's pointing at its own people. Because
Yeah.
Because that's the other problem when you want to face your turret and then you put it on the table and you change the facing of the tank and now it's pointing at your own guys. So leaving the turret off is also a very good choice.
I hate having loose turrets.
And therein lies the problem.
Yeah.
Right.
I'd rather have it be fixed.
Depends on what's important to you.
Yeah. Time.
Tanks, base or no base, up to you.
No base.
I'm a fan of no base because tank bases are big and mostly covered, so they feel a lot like a waste of time to me.
Yeah.
But the smaller you go in scale, the more the base is important. So like Flames of War,
Oh yeah.
things like that can be cool. But for 40K, I typically would say no base. Spawn Maximus, you got a commercial? What? Did you drift away and come back? They'll nail you for that. We don't run commercials during the show. So.
We like you guys.
You shouldn't get mid-roll commercials. We have that specifically turned off unless they reset something. We ain't trying to do that to you. That's the one thing I hate about Twitch. I just wrote an angry letter. I write angry letters to Twitch like once every couple months, which is funny because they never have ever returned my emails, but I continually do it. I wrote an angry one to them because I'm like, listen, I feel like if you sub to a channel, you don't have to watch the commercials. That's a known thing, okay? So if you sub here, you never see a commercial. You'll tune in, you won't get the pre-roll commercial, you won't get the mid-roll commercials if people run them, I don't think. I think it's only for people that aren't subs. I might be wrong on the forced run commercials because I don't do that. So I don't know. But the rest of it is like, we don't get seen or we don't get shown commercials if we sub. And I was like, but what if you gift a bunch of subs? Because we can't possibly sub. I mean, we could, but we prefer to go through and gift a bunch of subs to channels that are from our affiliate program and just cool hobbyists that we see that we want to, spark the community. And my firm belief is I want every viewer to be a sub to every channel they go to. I know that's not possible, but we do our part. So we go and we gift a bunch. And I got really pissed off the other day. I was like, we gift an absolute crap ton on the Monument thing, and we still get force-fed your stupid commercials, right? So I was petitioning that they add in the algorithm for that people that have gifted subs. So if you've gifted a sub in a channel during the course of that month, you also shouldn't have to freaking watch commercials. But now we're hitting them in their pocketbook, so they'll probably get rid of us. They'll send the man after me. I'm too much of a rebel, Dottie. You pay people to watch commercials for you? Rich. Just got money to throw around like that? It's funny because I knock commercials so much and then we make commercials. So
our commercials are fun to watch, though.
Well, and if every commercial was like that, I probably wouldn't have the same problem. But when I get hit with, like, stupid insurance commercials or... The other day, I forget who it was I was watching, they like right in the middle of the stream, it cut to commercials. There were like 10 commercials in a row, and at least 2 or 3 of them repeated themselves multiple times.
That's obnoxious.
I'm leaving.
Bye.
No, I went to unlock the door, and the door is permanently unlocked. Someone turned the key all the way. I think Kyle accidentally fully unlocked it.
Who?
This morning. I don't know. The door's, so the bar's out, but the latch is still there.
Oh, can you go grab my keys on my desk?
Yeah.
I think they're on my desk.
Okay.
It's the big yellow square one.
Okay, I'll go do that real quick.
Hi, Jacob.
We were waiting for a pickup, but it never came.
Yeah, that's what Jen was saying, is that DHL was supposed to come at like 4:30, which means they'll probably be here late. You know it. And then they'll be like, you needed to be there.
Yep.
We were here. That is one of the problems when we close our office at 4 as opposed to 5, like
6.
standard businesses. People get mad at us. Why aren't you open like normal people? Why don't you have normal hours?
Because we treat our employees very well, and we let them go early.
How's your day, Jacob?
It's pretty good. I woke up early.
Yeah? On purpose?
Yeah. It takes, when I leave at the time I usually do, it takes like 35 minutes to drive here.
Oh, yeah.
And
If you wake up a little bit earlier, it takes 10.
yeah, it took 15 this morning.
Yeah, it's crazy. That's the way. That's Murphy's Law in action right there. Sleep in that extra 10 minutes, suffer for 20 extra on the way in.
It's good now.
Okay, cool.
Goodbye.
All right.
Bye.
Did you put them back on my desk?
Yeah, they're on your desk.
Thank you, sir.
Yep. Come on.
Bye.
Drive safe.
Yeah, I was thinking about just how much time I wasted driving. I'm like, I should just leave early. Or I'll try leaving early.
Jen was talking about people who speed earlier, and I was like, the thing that got me to stop worrying about driving fast and all that in probably my 30s, right, was doing the math. It took an engineer at a company I worked for to write it down on a card for me. He didn't just tell me; he did the math, showed it to me, like basically handed it to me on a card.
Yeah.
And he goes, here's the difference between driving the speed limit the whole way here and speeding 20 miles an hour over.
And the difference is negligible.
Oh, it was like 3.5 minutes.
Yep.
And for all that stress, that's the way, he was a very zen dude. And for all that stress, he goes, think about how much better your day is if you just, plan for that 3 minutes. And I was like, wow, you're a very wise man. And ever since then, I'm the guy everybody's yelling at. It was like an immediate transformation for me. I just needed to be shown the light.
Yeah, I don't think anybody here drives the speed limit. Like, period.
In Arizona?
I think everybody goes, like, if it's 40, they're going 50.
Or much under.
If it's 35, they're going 50.
I know around us here in central Phoenix, a lot of people drive way under the speed limit.
Or, yeah, or that.
Like, to the point where it's like, are you lost?
I mean, yeah. It's bad.
It certainly can be. Big Bob says, hi, chair guy.
Hi.
You have been dubbed chair guy, by the way.
That's fine.
Sharing the same name as the chair guest is messing me while I work. Jacob. Cobenheister is Jacob. Well, he's just chair guy, so we'll just call him chair guy.
Yeah.
20 miles per hour saves you like 1 minute at a time. That's the thing, right? It was like 0. It was like 3.5 minutes because I drove a long way, right? So it was a little bit more. But it wasn't, it was negligible, and when it was shown to me like that, it's like, I probably have known this my whole life. My hindbrain know that this was stupid.
Oh, it definitely does.
But then when somebody shows it to you, and you go and you don't trust them, and so you go run it, calculations yourself, and then you're like, oh, I'm an idiot. The math doesn't lie. Now, when you put me on a motorcycle, all bets are off because I just like going fast. So, it wasn't about getting anywhere quicker. Lone Samurai, you didn't know the range of paints was so large. 102 colors right now. We've got
Bigger and bigger.
we've got 6 colors coming out by the end of the year in our fluorescents. We've shown those off a couple times. And then we still have 21 colors left in the main range, and we'll probably do a couple more signature series sets. Lots to do before we're done. miles to go before we're through. But yeah, we will start slowing down on new colors. But we have other really cool stuff happening.
Mm-hmm. We talked about it a little bit last night, actually.
Last
One of
night?
the things, yeah.
What do you mean? Oh, us internally?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay, I thought you meant on stream.
Oh, no.
We've talked about the game a little bit. We're opening up a game studio. So we've got some games that'll be hitting the ground running starting in Q1 this next year. One of them is very close to production ready and should be going into production this coming month. Or November. Very excited. We're going to be doing something a little bit different in our eyes. We're going to be actually making a game before releasing it. Edible paints. Xeno, push. Push, you. That is not a thing. It probably is. You can probably go to like the dollar store and buy edible paints.
Yeah, it's called food coloring.
Well, you're not really going to have a lot of fun painting with food coloring, to be honest with you.
It is edible, though.
I think that's the whole point, right?
Mm-hmm.
Put food coloring in water, you make watercolor maybe. Edible watercolor. Interesting thing. I wonder what the tinting strength of food coloring is.
It's pretty high, right? Because when you do the Easter eggs, you gotta add a ton of water to food coloring.
Yeah. Baka, everything we are doing is original IP right now. I do have to note that I have reached out to an individual that makes a video game I love to see if we could get the licensee IP to make a board game of it. But other than that, it's all original IP. We have a very good friend of the business and local video game developer who, as a moonlighting gig to keep his brain going, creates these amazing tabletop games. And so we have given him an outlet. We've licensed one property from him and plan to license a second, assuming that the first property goes well. That'll be up to you guys liking it and us producing it well. But yeah, lots of fun. Really cool world that he has. And a neat game. Fun, fast, furious combat. The first game is not a miniatures game, but it will have miniatures. That'll blow your mind. We're going to be making miniatures that can be used in the game, but it's not like a tactical miniatures game. They're more like glorified, what would you call it? Glorified Monopoly pieces.
Yeah, pretty much.
You know? Just neat avatars in the game.
Yeah, they're a physical representation of your characters that you have.
Yeah. But you don't.
Yeah.
You don't care about their line of sight or anything tactical like that.
Yeah.
Working on the sculpts for those.
Yep, that's been super fun so far.
Baby J is at the helm for all of that stuff.
Yes, sir. Working with some of our freelance artists, get stuff going. I think we're really happy with what we're seeing so far, which is excellent.
Oh yeah, those ones you showed yesterday from her are fantastic.
Yeah, we even got some new stuff today.
Well, you holding out on me.
I haven't gotten anything. They just said that they've been working on stuff.
Oh, gotcha.
Oh, actually, no, they have been updated. I forgot. They did say that they uploaded images. So I'm gonna go look at that after this.
Scrambled eggs. You think it's super helpful when you have posts on how to mix some colors to get other cool colors? Our shorts do a lot of that.
They do.
We do a lot of that right here live, 5 days a week.
Shorts, methodologies, it's all good avenues of getting access to stuff like that. Actually started on a really cool short today. This is going to have to be a little bit of a two-parter as far as recording is concerned, because you got to wait for dry time. I'm not going to tell you what it is, but that's a little bit of a sneak peek.
Lone Samurai, yeah, definitely. Send an email to support. Give us the details on all of your stuff you do. If you or any of your friends have extensive knowledge or run your own like game review channel or anything like that, let us know.
Yeah, please do. I would be
Baby
happy.
J is starting to work on that list of people as well. We'll probably, if all goes well, we'll have promotional copies of the first game ready to go by end of year, so that reviewers can be looking at it tail end of the hobby days. I need to say hobby days. Tail end of the hobby days. That's what they are. From here on out. No more holidays, only hobby days. Ragnarok, any tips for painting multicolored fur? Explain how you want multicolored fur to look. Like, are we talking multiple colors that are in contrast to one another, or you just want fur that has, you know, various shades of browns and things like that going on?
Or like a leopard pelt, maybe? Something like that?
Yeah,
kind of
let us know, because, like, you know, in doing fur, I typically put multiple colors in it to achieve something that looks like, you know, dirty brown or gray or whatever, right? But you don't have to, it still is intended, like this is intended to be one colored pelt. It's just using a lot of colors to achieve the contrast and the dirtiness and, you know, whatever else on it that you feel like you want. But if I were going to make this multicolor, I would just section it off in parts and make sure that I didn't wind up with like zebra striping of my colors if I was going for something where it might be, you know, black at one end and yellow and brown or something like that. Unless you wanted it to look like tiger stripes, I would do some blends in the middle for your base color so it didn't get too garish. Or like a stripe pattern. Look at Jen's models.
Like tiger stripes.
Yeah. She did a great job. So Jen's not here to dote on, but her little tiger that she did is fantastic. The thing about the stripes on this, you'll notice, is that you don't want to paint the line in parallel with the stripe itself. You can set up the striping by painting a line to show where you want it so you get them even stripe to stripe. But then when you go in, you can tell she's done all of her stripes horizontally in lots of little brush strokes like this so that it gives the feel of fur. That's the only thing you got to make sure that you do. Otherwise, if you just paint a line and it's solid, it looks like it was painted on. It doesn't feel like part of the fur. So just doing that kind of hatching that goes across like this, it gives it a little unevenness on the edge, makes all the difference and makes it feel like fur, right? So that's the only big thing to recognize when painting like this. Kind of like overspray on it or something.
Oh.
Yeah. Right, but she's done that on these and done it with probably just black and then a little bit of dark neutral gray, it looks like, although she might have mixed some purple in there. It has a little bit of a glow on it. but I think it's mostly bright neutral or black and dark neutral gray on the inside of the stripe if you want to do black like that, and it works like a champ. And definitely paint them all dark purple, magenta, orange, and yellow.
I concur.
because I want to see an army of nothing but those bright ass colors that Jen did her tiger in.
That would look so good.
It would be so amazing. Oh, Nutrimental wants to see the new paint racks. Yeah, let's go to. I'm going to switch over to single cam. Oh, we lost chair guy. There he is. All right, and I'm going to back out here. So we can see some stuffs.
Hey, holding up over there, chair guy.
So the question was posed when we were going to see new MDF racks in stock, and so we've been working on a new series of racks for quite a while now, actually, and we're just about ready to launch into production over the course of this next month. A lot of really cool features. If you're used to our racks, this is a very big change. They don't work in the same manner as the old rack. So the old rack system, we will do one last hurrah. If you have the old rack system, you'll be able to buy. We may restock certain ones of it over time, but it's eventually going to fade away and be gone. And in replacement, we're going to do this. This is a system that uses the same angle as the go bag, right? So the face of it angles like the go bag does when it's sitting, right? So that you can use them as, set them next to your go bag and have your desk be kind of arranged like that. I'm going to move this mic. This might make a noise for you guys. Sorry. Move that up a little bit. But this is what we call the cradle or the base station, right? One thing you'll notice is that it's a no glue situation. It uses these plastic pop tabs, right? And the pop tabs hold it positively in place. So this thing's very, very sturdy, but you don't have to glue it, right? So it's very easy. That was one of the things I always hated about the MDF stuff, is it has to glue together, and you get it, you don't have wood glue, and you put it together with Elmer's glue and it falls apart, right? So you've got a cradle system. The cradle fits the paint foam trays very snugly. So you can just take the paint foam trays right out of your go bag, put them in here, and now you've got a system like this. You can lay them like this if you want it lengthwise, right? Or you can stand it up, however you like, right? Because that's in there, okay? But what's really cool is that we have these. I can figure out how to put them places. Right, so we've got these that nest inside that give you all the variations of holding. So we've got the standard 17 mil, and then ours, and then we'll do one for the GW style pots as well. And so these now have, the ability to sit inside. You can modularize how you want your storage to be. You just buy however many cradles you want on your desk setup, and then you slide in these, and then these stack. Right? And you've got this is an early prototype of the shelf, so but you've got a shelf one as well that can go in here. The shelf one has closed corners. This early prototype, the corners are open, but it has closed corners on it, so nothing falls out. Right. But you got a shelf rack. You put it however you want. Right. And all of these are held together with the same snap system. You can see I've been lazy here, and I've only used 50% of the snaps that you use, and this thing's sturdy as heck. It's not going to come apart. So those all fit in the cradle system. There'll be multiple iterations of that, and then these are neat because you can stack them, right? So they lock together and stack. So if you wanted to store them, or if you want to take these and put them in a case and move, or whatever you got to do. The better thing, though, out of all of this is that these, once in the cradle, we are going to be providing a free 3D STL that you can print out on an FDM printer that is a bracket that these will wall hang. That's what this is. So this little indent and this hook is for a bracket that runs the length, and that bracket can be printed in modular sections to make it as wide as you want it. You just print it on your own. We don't charge you for it. make the FDM a free download for the STL, and then you can print them out, and then you can wall hang these as much as you like. Right. And then the even cooler part is if you've already done the math in your head, right? The inserts for this are the same size as the go bag trays, so these go in the go bag. So you can take your MDF shelf rack and you can replace one of your paint racks in the go bag Evo, and it'll go right in there. Or if you have the older go bag, they sit right down in the older go bag, which is the point of this. You can put this in the older go bag, right? So your wonderful Monument Engineering. Jacob is like, I'll sleep here.
I almost fell asleep right now.
It's like, I'll sleep here.
I'm on the verge.
Big Bob feels cheated. I have the first gen glue together ones. They're valuable commodities now. They're collector's items, Big Bob. We did that for you. We changed the whole design so that you had $1 million retirement fund sitting on your desk. Yeah, I think the wall bracket will be pretty cool. We're not going to sell the wall brackets. You'll have to figure out your STL and printing needs, but everybody's got a printer they can get them from. And I'm sure somebody will pick up the STL and sell it on Etsy for you pre-made. We might find somebody to work with that can do that, but we're not going to sell them on our own. We don't want to buy an FDM printer farm. I don't think. If you talk to Brennan, he'll tell you different, but don't listen to that guy.
Yeah, he'd be like, let's do it. FDM printer? Yes.
Big Bob can get a candy bar at retirement. Hey, now. Don't you be so derogatory. Some Von Braun. Phoenix, that was a new desktop organization system we're going to be launching soon. Definitely before the end of the year. We make those with Death Ray Designs. So the Death Ray Designs team did a lot of the engineering on that with us to dial it in. They've been making our racks forever. And it's awesome to have Austin at the helm working with us to create some really fun stuff. If you don't know the Death Ray Designs team, great guys. They make their own game. Steel Rift.
Yeah,
it's like
that's still relatively new, yeah?
Like a BattleTech derivative, almost. It's big stompy robots without all the crunchiness of BattleTech. They're doing their own resin miniatures now, and all sorts of cool stuff. Think there'll ever be a miniature painter seen like Picasso or Da Vinci? Probably not. The medium won't last that long. But who knows? Those things aren't ever planned, so it's a tough one. People have been painting miniatures for centuries, right? It's just that stuff like this is collected now. You know, there's the new thing in Vegas, that museum they're trying to open up.
Well, I think the other thing to consider about it as well is, would those, famous artists from back in the day be as famous if learning about art and becoming an artist was as accessible?
very
as it
good
is.
philosophical question, right?
Right.
Because in the modern times, do we have fewer of those just due to everybody can do it? So we've diluted it?
I think, personally, I think that's the case.
Yeah. I think there's a good argument to be made for it.
Because I think there are certainly people of, truly incredible caliber of painting, and I find it hard to believe that there are not people today painting their own original works that are capable of the skill and or knowledge, maybe not necessarily together, of those types of people.
Yeah, a lot of people would say that we're in the age of derivative works because everything's been done, right? You hear that all the time.
Yeah.
Everything's been done, so, the chance of creating a new style is fewer and further between. I don't know. I think that's a defeatist attitude. I think there's new stuff all the time.
Yeah.
I think that if you open up your eyes, you can find it. So I think with miniatures, again, I think we'd have to delve into the thought process of, just the medium won't last. Plastics will deteriorate. Even metal models deteriorate. Something physical in this size is hard to have to examine and for everybody to enjoy, but, weirder things happen.
Well, I mean, the other part of it too is like you look at those paintings, and those paintings are, I mean, they're old and they are in rough shape. I mean, a lot of them are being much better cared for now.
Well, yeah, UV intrusion has destroyed most of them, right?
Yeah.
Environmental effects from being in the open air, hanging on somebody's wall.
Yeah.
In a smoker's house, kind of a thing.
And I mean, you think about the volume of work now compared to, presumably what it was back then. This is different.
Well, art is very commercial nowadays.
Yeah, exactly.
You as an artist painting like Picasso would have for a commissioner, you've got people like Gabe Leonard. If you don't know Gabe Leonard, go look at Gabe Leonard. He does commission works, Wild West style commission works that are fantastic.
Hi, Jen.
The camera's up, sorry.
Here, I got it.
Oh, that means we got to go.
There you go.
Well, I mean, I'm back. It's 5:04.
But yeah, it's a very interesting question, and it's a neat thought process to go down to think about how, how miniature art has changed, how it's looked at.
Yep.
The fact that there are museums that focus and do shows on miniature art is definitely showing that there is an interest in our field, if you will.
Mm-hmm. Well, it's interesting how different miniature painting is from like the classical art scene, right? And I mean, there are definitely people who treat it like such, and this is largely a more European thing than it is a thing in the United States now.
Yeah, we've traditionally been more gaming focused in the States.
Correct.
And less about the artwork attached to it.
Yeah.
But there's a, like Nova, there's a big draw
Oh, 100%.
towards the artwork. So I can see it.
And I
growing.
think that that's grown significantly over the years, right?
But it doesn't have to come from the States. It could be that European charge leads it.
Yeah.
I think that probably the bulk of the miniatures in this Las Vegas museum are from Europe.
Yeah.
That guy's just a collector.
Big Bobzilla, that sounds about right. He's usually very critical.
What's that?
Nothing.
Damn it.
Who's critical? Oh. Nah. He was very complimentary of your tiger, actually.
There was a question earlier. Any idea on the timeline for the half-size go bags?
It needs a round of revisions. I don't think we have to see them sampled. I just need to know that the revisions are being done and see them in photo. And I'm hoping that means that our target is Q1. So, likely around the birthday of the Go Bag Evo is our target. We may miss that by a little. It might be February. All that depends on Chinese New Year and shipping and stuff like that. So
Jordan, did you finish your other guy?
He is in hiatus mode currently. We want to take a before and after photo of me.
And Gabe had to leave.
Yeah, Gabe had other commitments.
Yeah.
We'll get him to take a picture of it tomorrow. That way Jordan can finish up.
Yep.
He said I was critical of your tiger. I used your
Yeah.
tiger as a great example of how to do stripes on fur. I was not critical at all.
That's what I was saying. You were very complimentary, in fact.
Freaking Big Bob trying to get me in trouble. Last time I drink your delicious chocolate
He
milk
knows
and
I
eat your apple
know.
pie.
I know that you're not critical of it, and he knows.
That's one of my
that I
favorite
know.
models.
It does look really good. I'm gonna be honest.
I hold that
It's
model
really,
in
really
reverence. Jen, best painter in the building.
No, that was a fluke. Omicron, I think mine are in our garage, actually.
Or what?
So Omicron Samurai, his sister and I were in the same graduating class in high school.
Oh, that's why he mentioned that when you were gone.
Yeah, no, I was here. But he maybe said this, that because he said that he was going to look in her yearbook at me, but she didn't have her yearbook.
Jen's the one with the big hair.
One
That's
out
probably
of
not the only
500.
Yeah.
I can't think of one girl
Who didn't have
who
the
didn't have big hair
big hair?
in 1988.
See, we had the moody
through
heavy
90,
metal
whatever, high
chicks
school.
at Bertner. We had a big group of like moody heavy metal girls that all had like Joan Jett hair.
Oh, the short.
No, it was long at the time
Oh,
and very, like straight down,
oh, Huh.
like yours without the
yeah. Huh.
Yeah, we had a lot of that.
She was the only Jenna. Okay. Trying to remember if I knew a Jenna. That was a really long time
Watch
ago.
you see a picture and be like, oh my god.
Well, if she was the only one, then it would be easy for me to look at her picture and know.
We do need to shut it down though. We gotta be someplace at 5:30.
Yeah. 509.
It is 509.
It's right down the street, but there is traffic, so. So to everybody in chat, thank you so much for hanging out with us on yet another Tuesday. For those of you that may be new around here, I hope you've enjoyed yourself. Please hit that follow button. Keeps us alive and doing what we do here.
Thank you, Panic Bomb Arcade. We wouldn't do this stream if it weren't for you.
Yeah. That is the truth. And remember, we do stream 5 days a week. Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays, like tomorrow coming up. We do the Hobby Lunchtime show from noon to 2 p.m. Pacific. And then Tuesdays and Thursdays, like today, of course, we start at that later slot at 2 and go till 5. So 5 chances during the week to spend some of your precious time with us. We would love to see you back as often as possible, for sure. More great discussions, hanging out with cool nerds. Cool nerds, I think it's an oxymoron, but
No.
painting some cool models. My guy's starting to take shape finally.
I got all of these primed except for one.
Except for one.
Except for one.
Aw.
Oh. There's my lighting direction sign. Yeah. So we're going to send you off to raid somebody else, except we don't have keyboards, so Jen needs to go sit at her desk.
Oh, I could do that.
None of us can do this, but the producer's back.
The producer is back. We have the technology. It's just over there.
Gosu, thank you so much.
Thank you, everybody. It was so much fun as always.
Okay, bye.
Show some love in the show some love in the chat we wind up in, and we'll catch you back here tomorrow. Adios, gang. We're out.
Bye.